All right, there we go. So this should be up now. It should be starting. Hopefully we've got this better. So because there was something that happened last time, which we'll talk about once we get some people in here since Streamlight just fully started. But yes, we are live. It should be fully up. I'm just checking some things, posting on X. Man, I hope this game is good. The last couple haven't been. Let's see. Press that. Press that. UFL is back on ESPN. Yes, sir. Let's see. It's actually the opposite. You are allowed to in this league. Okay, go over here, go over here. I'm just checking. I'm just seeing some people talking about stuff on Twitter. Go back over here, post it up, post, and back to the stream. Okay, yep, still going good. Okay, sub MB, sub Homeless Cop. We've got a couple people here. Let's see. Man, okay, I just gotta go over here, press that. Yeah, so last stream went analytically wise, like numbers did good, but the actual stream was like really bad. We ended up having an issue with the play-by-play right there where it wasn't doing anything for like 2 hours. I never caught it, and then somebody pointed out, and I was like, bruh. And as you can hear, the quality of my voice is better because last time I was recording audio through the default setting on my computer, which was through my webcam and not my actual mic. So today we're with the mic, so the audio is better. So hopefully everything is better. Just got them. Time, need phone to watch game. Alright, so yeah, Arlington beat San Antonio pretty bad. That was insane. It was definitely insane for sure. How am I doing, Norman? I'm doing pretty good today. We get to finally watch some Panthers football for the first time in a while. Yesterday's game was disappointing, and the stands in Arlington are empty too. No way it was 10K. It definitely wasn't 10K, but I mean, it never is what they say it is. But it was still one of the most. It was clear it had the most people any game for Arlington since last year's season opener. And overall, if that number stays what it is or gets better, because the biggest issue was last year, right? Arlington immediately just fell off a cliff to start the season. So the team just wasn't good, right? So if they can continue to do what they're doing this time, yeah. You know what I mean? Like overall, it was just better this time than last time. But I just like how the Brahmas coaching staff were in the press box instead of on the players. I agree. That was definitely a bad decision for sure. I definitely agree for sure. Let's go over here. So, yeah, I mean, the attendance hopefully gets better for sure, but as for the first two game, it just really wasn't good. Like, the two games were both D-tier games. Those of you who don't know, I do a week one tier list with every game from week one of the Ultramodern era. Both those games are going D-tier. They weren't good. Like, yesterday's game was more competitive early on than Friday's game, but it was less enjoyable to watch, if you know what I mean. It just wasn't it. Cost still a lot. Dude, the Battlehawks definitely really good. Now, they're at the moment, for me, the Battlehawks are jumping up one spot in the power rankings to number 4. That's entirely because we haven't, seen Michigan or Birmingham play. And Arlington had a more impressive win. Arlington played a better team. They won just as impressive. St. Louis, Manny Wilkins, I know a lot of people are saying Manny only looked good because against the terrible Roughnecks. I saw a lot of throws that he didn't make last year. I know he still missed some, but he looked a lot better yesterday than he did last year. Or I say yesterday, 2 days ago. So at the moment, I would have power rankings be Stallions 1, Panthers 2 with the asterisk that neither team have played, Renegades 3, Battlehawks 4. And then Brahma's 5. Well, you know what I mean. Brahma's, they're going to fall in my power rankings. That was embarrassing. They did not look good at all. But yeah, I mean, that's what I was mentioning about G Boney's comment about how this has been a really bad opening so far, and it really has. I mean, you had 2 bad games back to back. That's just not good. It's just, But yeah, this game's going to start in about 10 minutes. Of course, it's the first game for both the Panthers and the Showboats. I was trying, I don't know if it was, I know somebody on Discord posted, I think it looked like the attendance or something, and it looked actually pretty good. Like the attendance might be, but I mean, the big issue is, of course, you can have the construction on one side of the field, but yeah, let's see. On Sunday, okay. But yeah, the Brahmas' last 2 games, I mean, they almost went back-to-back games being shut out. That would have been hilarious. I was actually kind of looking forward to that. I thought that would have been insanely funny. You know what I mean? Just seeing him get back-to-back shutouts, but yeah, definitely not the best thing to see. I mean, what is it? The 2 games have combined so far for a final score of like, what is it, like 60-something to like 15 or something terrible? Let me see. Season schedule. Yeah, 31. Yeah, it's 64 to 15 is the first 2 games. I don't think you can get much worse than that, if I'm being honest. Definitely bad. Stallions at Defenders, exciting game. I would hope so. I just don't think so because of the fact that you have the big issue of DC being a very questionable team. Changed their head coach. Already wasn't a great head coach, but now they're, downgraded from that. You got foot out the door. You got to rely on being fully healthy. Smith, I hope it's a good game, but I think that this Michigan-Memphis is the game that has to save us so far. Because we could easily see 3 total blowouts to open the season. I would not be shocked. I wouldn't. All we got to say is we got to hope the TV ratings do good. Yeah, St. Louis being home is going to be huge. Arlington's next home game is... Let me check. I just had it pulled up and I just closed it for some reason. 2025 UFL season. Arlington's next home game is going to be next week as well. So hopefully that game also has high attendance. It's another Texas rivalry game between the Roughnecks and the Renegades. So in theory, you should have people showing up for that one. So that should be good. So you'll have 2 games that should have really solid attendance. That's the Brahmas home game at the Dome. So, blah, blah, blah. DC's back at Audi. As long as they don't get destroyed today, it should be good. Next week could be a really good week for attendance. The opening game for the Panthers at home, it was expected to be a pretty good one. I will say, I know Twitter's been acting a bit weird today, so updates and tweets like that is going to be a bit weird. I don't know what the deal is, but it's been definitely bugging out today, so yeah. Be on the lookout for that to be an issue while we're doing all this stuff, because we usually check in there, do things, but yeah. UFL segment during college game day. Of course, we got to hope that the attendance, or not the attendance, the TV ratings end up being good. We won't know that till about Tuesdays when it usually comes out, if I remember correctly. It's essentially like 2 business days after the weekend. So if there's a day off on Monday, like, a holiday, it won't come out till Wednesday, is when we usually find out the numbers like that. But we're hoping that we get some good ones. We'll see for sure. Friday Night Football went against competition. Yesterday went against competition. Blowouts are going to really hurt. Though yesterday's game got the benefit of you're going to have of the fact that it benefited from lead-in numbers with the baseball game. As for March Madness today, the women's doesn't start till 1 p.m. and the men's doesn't start till 2, so at least for an hour you don't really have any major competition in that regard. The PGA Tour, it's not a major event, but that one's going on today. Hopefully Scotty can bounce back. He didn't do terrible yesterday, but he didn't do great. Good morning, Rob. Nice to see you here as well. We're about 6 minutes out from the game kicking off. Well, from it starting, and then it'll probably kick off another 15, but I know G-Man was here. He says he's not going to be here for the stream. But yeah, this is going to be hopefully a good game. Because we all know that yesterday's wasn't. I was like, look, I did say in my game picks video that I really did think that it could go any way, including a blowout. So to me, I wasn't super shocked that Arlington blew out San Antonio. just because of that, because I remember stating that I think it could easily be a blowout one way or the other. Arlington, their offense basically just got better yesterday, which is insane. But their offense got better. Devion Smith is being used as a ground and pound guy, 3 rushes, 3 touchdowns, 3 yards, and they were able to use their Ballage and Dede Hunter as more traditional running backs. So their offense got better, and their defense actually played well. Like, look, you can say what you want about Kellen Mond, and Anthony McFarland still did a couple Anthony McFarland plays, but overall Arlington's defense looked much better yesterday than it did at any point during last season. Arlington, man, like, dude, I know I talked about it in the last live stream. The week 1 championship odds, Arlington was the best buy. I think they were like plus 1,100 to open the season. That's insane. The worst was DC at like plus 600. I can't believe they were third. But Arlington was like the best one in terms of value. It's insane, but I don't know if they're going to get torched. I think that the Showboats defense, I think a lot of people are kind of overreacting on the team more so than the offense. The offense is going to be rough, but I think the defense is still going to be really solid. I think that Jaron Horton's going to do a good job with it. It's just going to be a matter of, can the offense do enough to where the defense doesn't get tired? That's my only fear for them. My only fear for Memphis is that they just get like that, but yeah. First 2 games stunk. Yeah, they definitely sucked. It really was a shame to see that, G-Man. I agree for sure. I won't be sticking around this stream. Well, I hope you have a good time watching the Showboats. I mean, hopefully they have a solid performance today. Even if they don't win, as long as they keep it close, it'll be better than what they usually do. So hopefully we'll see that. I'm just going to check over here. Okay, still at 5. Okay. Yeah. My Battlehawks look so damn good this year, too. We played Houston, so how do you feel about the attendance for this game? I think the attendance is going to be okay. It's not going to be like anything like, earth-shattering. It's not going to be, like 12K people, but I think it's going to be better than most of the games last season. I'm predicting probably over 6,500, maybe 7K. I think it's clear they did the most effort in Memphis. I know they had this whole, like, thingy that they've been doing on the way there. So I would assume that one ends up being pretty good. Like, for Memphis standards. I see you're repping the Spring Kitties. Yep, I've got my Panthers gear on. First game of the Panthers in a while. If you want to use G-Man's team emojis, you can become a community member for those in the description below. A lot of stuff, and let's see here. So again, this game starts in about 3 minutes. It's going to be on this is on ESPN, so is the game after this. Right after this one, as today is a doubleheader, you will get to see the Defenders Stallions, which not a lot of hype for that game because of the fact that while it is an Audi field, it's, the Defenders, so oof. But yeah. It's odd to me that the league decided to open up the season in 2 of the first 3 games in Memphis and Houston, 2 worst teams in the last season. Houston, I understand it from a perspective that they're back at TDECU, and TDECU was a huge, thing for that team that a lot of people were excited for. But Memphis, I agree, really weird choice starting the season in Memphis. I guess they're hoping that Memphis starts the season with like a competitive or a W and like goes from there, but I don't know. Panthers winning 44-25. Let's go Panthers. By the way, I'm a Panthers fan. 44-25 is a pretty bold one. Let me go over here. I forgot I can't check. That's the one thing I hate about Twitter on the PC. It's just not as good. I actually have that right there. I can pull it up. My exact prediction for this game was 20-15 Michigan beats Memphis. I thought this was going to be a lower scoring game. I think that the defenses were going to play really well, so I had this as a lower scoring game. I know some might say it's a bit bold. That's how I kind of picked it. Okay. Got to use the phone for the first time to watch a game. It's been a while since we've had to do that, but of course, because of this one being on ESPN, have to use it. My preseason prediction looks pretty good so far. Michigan beating Arlington in the championship game. I mean, hey, Arlington definitely looks really solid. I mean, I picked Arlington to win it all, and I feel pretty good about that pick right now, for sure. They may be thinking about opening weekend loses out to basketball anyways. That's a good point. I do think that I know there's some tinfoil hat theories about that they kind of expected March Madness to be a big deal, and that's why they put Houston against St. Louis like they did. It's a bold take, but wouldn't be too shocked if that's the truth. Yeah, the Renegades using the T-Bone was hilarious. Final score prediction day will be 35-16 Panthers. St. Louis having their home opener in FS1 is ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it's pretty bad. but at least it's, you know, technically not, like, technically speaking, it's not their home opener. Their home opener is, you know, technically on another thing. So is my phone just gonna not work with this game today? Like, come on. I know this happened last year too. It would just, like, kind of bug out, not really work right. Well, I'll just put this here. Hopefully it fixes itself. I'm glad the United Football League starts at the end of March, because the end of March Madness, so it's perfect setup. Yeah, you go right from the March Madness right to the UFL. I've watched less March Madness this year than I have the past 3 years. I watched my first game at all yesterday, and that was the Duke game. I had not watched, like, any other game until then, but I watched Duke win, watched some Cooper Flag basketball, you know what I mean? So, that was good. Okay. I'm gonna be right back. I gotta get my other phone, because this might not be working on this phone. I don't know what it is. I'll be right back. Give me like a second. I don't know why this has happened. Like, this started happening at the end of last year, if I remember correctly, where sometimes my phone would just not be dealing with it correctly for some weird reason, where it would just, like, kind of bug out. So, yeah, hopefully it stops doing that, but we'll see. Let's go back to ESPN. Here we go. Yes, sir. We're finally getting this game started. That's for sure. ESPN Plus. Shoot with ESPN Plus. Go over here. No, I do not want to change my ESPN plan. I don't know why it's asking for that. Like, I literally don't care. You know what I mean? TJ Pokemon. I will say, being on YouTube has made my typing better. My typing used to suck. I used to take so long to type. It was awful, but I've gotten much better recently. So I'll take that. Okay, so let's mute this tab. Okay, worst case scenario, I'll just put this game literally on my thing here. Wow, so my phone is actually going faster than that. Okay, well, that's hilarious, but yeah. This is going to be a game. I really hope this is a good one. I think that should be, but we'll see for sure, you know what I mean? It's impossible to know 100% sure how good this game's going to be, but my mind is it just can't be worse than what last year was. Because last year was really bad. You know what I mean? Like, or the last couple games have been really bad. So hopefully it gets better this time, for sure. You know what I mean? Don't want to see it be terrible again. That we hope that would be really bad, but we'll see. You know what I mean? Hands on home row typing. I go over here. Hopefully it doesn't screw anything up with what I'm about to do. Should the UFL start after the Super Bowl? I heavily disagree with starting right after the Super Bowl, honestly. I'm not a fan of it. I know a lot of people do like that idea. I personally don't. I just think that there's something about the Super Bowl being right. Like, it's weird to talk about it, but essentially my issue with it is you go from watching top tier football, in theory, with the two best teams in the league, and you go directly into spring football, the disparity becomes immediately visible, and football fatigue is definitely a real thing. That's what I love about having a couple of months of a break. That's why I'm fully against that, and I fully do prefer the other one. That's how I view it, honestly. Okay, so put this over here. Put this over here. There we go. So hopefully this ends up working out better. Because I know that a big thing with yesterday's stream was that we had the issue with the Fox thingy not working, so hopefully this time it's better. Well, not Fox, but the UFL thing not working, so hopefully this time is better. Let me just go to OBS to make sure this is going to work better. Browser, interact. Who'll win this game? Yeah, that's a good question. Well, once it starts, we're doing it. Yes, I'm going to be doing play-by-play. I'm trying to get this to work because ESPN, for how many issues I have with how many ads they show, ESPN's play-by-play is definitely the best of all of them. But like right here, like there's no reason this should be black right there, but it is. And so that's an issue that I'm seeing recently. Let's see if this would fix it. Browser 2. Would that make it better? Oh, look, I'm just trying to... Nope, that did not make it better. So we're going to do that. Interact, delete. But yeah, I will be doing play-by-play at the very least. I'm just trying to get something else that ends up working, you know, better overall. But yeah. Make that go up a bit higher. Go over here. There we go. So now we're getting this set up, all that. Again, we have the betting stuff. They're talking about it right now. I know not everybody's a fan of it, which I fully understand why people aren't a fan of it, but yeah. You know what I mean? COC Mariner player prop, not surprised he has one of the top players on the team overall. And there we go. Get this set up a bit better. There we go. We'll take that. Yeah, I mean, it's like I was talking about I know they're talking about the over-under right now, which I know not everybody's a huge fan of that betting stuff talk, but I remember calling that out there in the betting pick or the game picks video I did, that you essentially had this thing where it became very evident, right? Where essentially what ended up happening was that last season all the totals were like 40 something, 43, 44, all of the unders hit. And then this season they know that, and so they're trying to kind of just go with that, which I fully get. Should the UFL fire the Houston coach? Yes. CJ Johnson, Curtis Johnson, yikes. Like, just a yikes. I'm sorry, but definitely a yikes moment. Yeah. That's how I view it. Go over here. Did not mean to full screen that. Yeah, for the first time ever, I'm going to be watching this game on my computer. It's hilarious. I've never done that before, but I kind of have to just to make sure this all works fine. So we'll put that over here. No, I'll just put that right there. Well, we're about to start with this game. Of course, this is the big question mark. Memphis having to change their head coach less than a week before kickoff. Michigan bringing back essentially like they are almost the exact same team as last season. It's actually wild how similar they are from last season. But that, of course, is a big deal here. So let's see what ends up happening here. Michigan is going to be kicking off the ball to start the game. So let's get on into this one. The kick is up. It bounces. Memphis gets the kick off at the 10-yard line, up to the 15, up to the 20, and he's going to be tackled at about the 23-yard line. Oop, did not mean to click that for you guys. Gonna be interesting to see exactly what happens here, of course. With this one, when you're looking at these two teams, of course, Michigan has a lot more hype around them. They are expected to be a championship contending team, just like they were last season. Whereas Memphis, there's a lot of questions going on about exactly how well this team is going to play this season. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. Because, of course, the defense is expected to still be very solid. I am watching this on ESPN+. This game is available for you on ESPN or ESPN+. E.J. Perry is getting the start for Memphis. He is under center right now with one man behind him in the backfield. And he's going to hand off the ball on the first play. And he gets immediately taken back about 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Huge play to start right there for them. Pretty solid for them. So we're at 2nd and 11 for Memphis right there. So it is showing that relatively well. We will take that W. Fox Sports, of course, when the UFL site itself isn't doing a good job, we have Fox Sports to rely on. Impact players, Kai Nakua. Of course, Kai Nakua was a huge player last year, and so is Breland Speaks as well. UFL means United Football League is what it stands for. E.J. Perry drops back to throw. He scrambles out to his right. He's going to run for it. And he gets tackled right by the ankles, but he still gets about 4 yards. This is going to be about a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. Yeah, United Football League, of course, is a play on the fact this is a united league from the XFL and the USFL, which is why they end up calling it the UFL. We have the USFL and XFL conferences currently right now. Yes, Ken Wisenhunt, they're talking about how he stepped aside, of course, just happened a few days ago. E.J. Perry is in shotgun. It is going to be 3rd and 8 for them. Let's see if they can pull this off. 3 receivers out to his left, 1 receiver fully out to his right, drops back to pass. Looking over the middle, he's running to the middle, and he throws it to the left. Is going to be caught, but he is going to be tackled immediately. It's going to be about a 4.5-yard gain. They will have to punt. Huge tackle, helmet popped off. Really solid. For free, as the Pirate would say, I have no idea. All I know is you got ESPN. ESPN Plus is where you could watch this if you wanted to watch the full game. Or you just got to kind of stick around and just do this. I mean, you can follow a lot of it on Twitter. It does take a while as... let's just say the league is very slow to post updates sometimes. You will see an interception and the league won't post about it for another 10 minutes. But yeah. Of course, Stallions kick off right after this game. So does DC. Wow, the Washington Wizards said good luck this season to the DC Defenders. Now that is what you love to see. Memphis is going to be punting on their first drive. 3 and out. Not a good way to start. Punt is up. There is a flag on the play. Of course, this is also the first UFL game that Joe Tessitore is going to be calling. Getting a bit of lag on ESPN+. Return is up to the 25, and he gets tackled at about the 26. There is another flag on the play. Make that 2 separate flags on this play. Going to be interesting to see what they are. So let's see. Sounds like we might have a hold up front. Or seeing. Soccer or football? I prefer football. I do watch soccer. I mean, I kept up with Real Madrid's game yesterday while watching this one. Really solid one, but Madrid got the W. It was a close one, but Mbappe got the goal when it mattered. Attendance prediction. My attendance prediction is probably going to be around 6,500. Hopefully higher, but that's just my total guess. Of course, Mike Nolan and Jim Turner are your 2 head coaches for this game. Mike Nolan is the reigning UFL Coach of the Year. Mike Nolan is calling for a re-kick with the penalties. The Brahmas let me down yesterday, but at least the Renegades look good. Yeah, the Brahmas were really bad, but the Renegades, man, that team looks super good. I mean, that defense looks insanely improved. It's just insane. So we are going to be getting a re-kick on the punt. Of course, the first punt of the Memphis Showboats this season. Going to be interesting to see exactly what they pull off here. Good old Mike Nolan. W coach. Easily one of the best coaches in the league right now. Great officiating. You gotta love a coach saying that. Of course, as you can see here, right behind Mike Nolan is the visiting side. There is construction going on over there, so the UFL, and because they did it last year, no fans will be on the visiting sideline for the Memphis Showboats game. All the fans will be in the home side of the building, or the stadium. 4th and 4, again, re-kick by the Memphis Showboats. Let's see what they put over here. Of course, Matt Mangle was a former Pittsburgh Mauler, one of the many former Maulers on this Memphis Showboats team. Of course, the Showboats have a new defensive coordinator in Jaron Horton. The punt bounces early and it goes out of bounds at about the 28-yard line, so they gain a couple of yards on the re-kick for the Panthers. That is why the Memphis Showboats defense is expected to be much better. The Showboats essentially just inherited a bunch of former Maulers players. Of course, the biggest name is Boogie Roberts, returning to spring football after being gone last year. Bryce Perkins is coming out as a starting quarterback for the Panthers. Last season, he didn't get a full start and game time, but he played 2 full halves, and he looked incredible in the little bit that he did play. Going to be interesting to see if he can continue what he did last year. Last year was incredible. He did get hurt, and that ended up hurting the Panthers in the playoff game against the Stallions, as they were without a true backup quarterback. So let's see what they do here. Nate McCreary is in the backfield with Bryce Perkins. Perkins is in shotgun with McCreary behind him. Ball is snapped, hands off the ball on first down. Goes out to his left, and he bounces off a tackle, breaks another tackle, ends up getting about 7 yards on the play right there. Really solid play for the Panthers right there to start. Of course, Marcus Sims being an impact player, not shocking at all. Marcus Sims is just like Anthony McFarland for the Brahmas yesterday. He's somebody that almost every week can guarantee you a big 40-plus yard play. He is a deep bomb threat for sure. Going to be very interesting to see if he can continue pulling that off against this team, since he has played against a lot of these guys multiple times back when they were with the Maulers. The Maulers and Panthers were in the same division for those of you who did not watch the USFL, so there's a lot of cohesion between these two teams with that sense. Bryce Perkins is in shotgun once again with a running back to his left. Motions about to the right, drops back to pass, throws a quick over the middle. It is caught. It's going to be about a 6-yard gain, going to be 3rd and 1 at the 39-yard line. If they can pull this off, it'll be a nice start. Of course, your opposing team went 3 and out. You don't. Will be a solid way to start. Michigan is currently a 6.5-point favorite in this game. Not too shocking, but let's see what they do here. Perkins is once again in shotgun, hands off the ball, and it's going to be a first down. And he ends up getting 5-10 yards. It's going to be about a 13-yard rush for Nate McCreary right there. Really solid run to start for that play right there. Going to be 1st and 10 again past the midfield line. That is a really solid run right there on 3rd and 1. Gotta love to see that. I'm really excited for DC, no lie. DC's game is going to be very interesting. Of course, there's a lot of negative hype in some ways because of the question marks with them losing their head coach, with Jordan Talma being back. But it is going to be in DC. DC has an electric atmosphere, even when there's not a lot of people there. It's always a great time, so it'll be very interesting to see how that game goes. Perkins is in shotgun again with one man right behind him. Motions his tight end. Fakes the handoff. Does a quick screen out to the right. It is caught, and it's going to be 5 yards, 10 yards, 15, 20. He's down to the 25. The 20 gets tackled right at the 20-yard line. Marcus Sims with an incredible play off that screen. Made a couple of good moves. They are already right behind there in the already right there at the red zone. You're behind me a little, not too shocked. ESPN Plus is always a bit slower, especially because I know sometimes, depending what device you use, have to use ESPN Plus. Like, the TV I have in this room is like an old TV that just gets antenna, hence why I use it for Fox and ABC. Great screenplay right there. Very rarely do you see screens like that work that well. It was in good play. Perkins is once again in shotgun, motions the receiver out to his right, hands off the ball. It is going to be about a 4-yard gain up to about the 15-yard line. So far, we got a really nice start for the Panthers offense. And we haven't even seen Perkins really use his dual threat ability. Of course, the big thing about Perkins is he is one of those truly elite players at being a dual threat guy. If he can continue what he did last year, this team's going to have a really electric offense, especially because Matt Colburn is another top running back in this league, and he is currently a backup for them. Mold 10 here. I hope this game is better game than the last two. I agree. The last 2 games have both been really disappointing, especially to open the season. 2 D-tier games for sure. Let's see if this one's better. 2nd and 6 for the Michigan Panthers. Perkins is in shotgun once again with one man to his right in the backfield. No receivers out to his left. And there he goes, faking the handoff. It was a good throw, but it was incomplete. Went right through his hands. Mariner did not make that catch. That is very shocking. COC Mariner was one of the best receivers in the league last year when he came to the team. He did not play the full season, but when he joined, he was incredible. That was a really solid play call right there and good play design. Shame he wasn't able to hold that one in. Showing Jaron Horton on screen, of course, the biggest offseason addition for the Showboats was their defensive coordinator, with Jaron Horton coming back into spring football after having another year hiatus. So far, though, the Panthers offense is doing a good job. It is 3rd and 6, though. They are in field goal range. Let's see what they do here with Perkins and shotgun once again. Motion to the left to the right with his wide receiver, and it is going to be a timeout. Currently a flag for false or delay of game. 5-yard penalty, 3rd and 11. Of course, another big thing is the Panthers kicker, Jake Bates, is no longer with the team, of course. Last year, Jake Bates was an incredible kicker. He was able to kick multiple 60-yard field goals, including multiple game winners. But, of course, he's in the NFL now with the Detroit Lions, so the Panthers have a new kicker. Going to be very interesting to see what ends up happening. Delay of game, get on with the trick already. Panthers shot themselves in the foot there, definitely. 3rd and 11 is not what you want to see there. Definitely not. Another motion left to right. Looks like they're running very similar play, if not the same exact play they were doing before. Perkins drops back to throw. He's going to run up to his right. He's going to run for it. He's up to the 20. He's up to the 15. And he's going to be tackled at about the 14-yard line. Decided to run for it. Didn't end up working out. Still got a decent amount. Make it a really close field goal. Again, 3 points to start your drive is a lot better than going 3 and out like the Showboats did. So, not an incredible start, but Mariner dropped that pass. Perkins could have thrown it a little better, but it is what it is. BT Potter is going to be kicking right now. Let's see if he can make this one. Of course, you have to follow up Jake Bates. It's a pretty tough ask, but if he can pull this off, it's only a 32-yard field goal. Really solid one to start. Let's see if he can make this. Ball is snapped. Kick is up. And it is good. Barely. It was a close one. That was definitely one that you don't like to see being close. That should have been a very easy kick. Instead, it was a not so easy kick, but, could be worse. Again, so first drive. So far, the Panthers are looking much better so far. Again, it's not like they've been incredible so far, but they had a much better opening drive than Memphis did. Yeah. Just looking at some of the things being posted on here. Of course, UFL posting some updates. Of course, attendance so far this season, by the way, has been essentially coming out roughly in the fourth quarter. I know last year we were used to getting it in the third quarter, but so far, back-to-back games, Mitchell has been reporting on attendance in the fourth quarter. So if you're interested in that, we're going to have to wait till very close to the end of the overall game and all that. Michigan point differential +3. Yeah, so far, though, this game, it's looking like, granted, it's only been 2 drives, but it's looking like this is probably going to be a much closer game than the last couple. Of course, Memphis' defense hasn't been playing insane, but they've been able to get multiple third down opportunities for Michigan. It'll be interesting to see what they do here. Of course, yesterday's game was played with a lot of penalties, and it wasn't even like the refs were, forcing themselves in the game. Yesterday's game between the Renegades and Brahms was just really sloppy football. The Renegades, if they hadn't gotten so many penalties, they would have won even harder. Who is the wide receiver ever? I would assume you're saying the best receiver ever, and I would assume you're talking about in the UFL. Best receiver in the league, I would still say, is Justin Hall, even though he didn't do a ton yesterday. Again, he's always been plagued with bad quarterbacks, having to essentially be like the diamond in the rough, being like the only good player on the team's offense. As for the Panthers, best receiver is, if you want to go by PFF grades, it's COC Mariner. If you want to go by best receiver overall, a lot of people would say Marcus Sims. The most wide receiver ever. I would say the most wide receiver ever in NFL history is Larry Fitzgerald. He's the ultimate receiver. Bro just caught every pass thrown to him. Man, I thought I was saved from this awful DoorDash commercial because I wasn't watching on Paramount. I guess I'm stuck watching it again. A new UFL ad. I haven't seen this UFL ad before, but seeing it in a UFL game, I wish I would see it in something else. I will say I was watching Fight Night last night, and in the bottom right, how they always have, right now they have the Braves Padres if you're watching this on ESPN+. They did have the UFL, so they were advertising it during Fight Night like that. That's something you do love to see. Of course, this is kickoff for them on ESPN. As I mentioned earlier, this is Joe Tessitore's first UFL game that he is calling. Of course, the guy from basically everything, college football, WWE, a lot of stuff in the past, he is covering this game. So far, Fox, it looks like it might be Joe Klatt and Kurt Menefee for every single game because, of course, we saw them on Friday and yesterday, and if that's the case, I'm not against that, but I would assume that's not going to be the case, but we'll see. Let's see what the Showboats can do on their second drive. Of course, first drive was 3 and out, not the best drive ever. Let's see what they can do here. This is going to be very interesting to see again with how Michigan is. Michigan's defense, of course, is a really solid unit. They have 2 former Defensive Player of the Years with Frank Gidna and Breland Speaks. Kind of cool, would have been. Ball is kicked, and it's going to bounce to the 5, and he gets taken right at the 6. That was a great kickoff by BT Potter. That was some terrible fielding by Memphis. And so now Memphis is going to get it, and Panthers are thinking like they have it. Let's see. I would assume Memphis has it. Looks like he got it. Yes, Memphis does have it. They're going to be starting this drive at the 6-yard line. Again, great kickoff by BT Potter. And terrible fielding by Memphis right there. Wow, he really did almost miss that. That almost went to Memphis. Or maybe almost went to Michigan. That was terrible right there. Kick of doom for sure. Again, the whole kickoff change with the landing zone, going back to the XL format, which, again, I've always said it, I'm not a huge fan of the XL kickoff, but I've also said that I'm more of a fan of the XFL's version of the kickoff than the NFL. The NFL basically tried to do the XFL kickoff, but didn't do it right. You're supposed to make it to where you get punished for touchbacks. The UFL, you are punished for touchbacks. It's why a good kick is one that lands in the landing zone and does what just happened, and it just stops. So let's see what happens with Memphis here. This is going to be a bad one. And there was a penalty on Memphis, so they are back to the 1-yard line. That's bad. They're in shotgun. This is very dangerous. Ball is handed off. He's going to get about half a yard, going to be close to the 2-yard line. Mike G, hate the XFL kickoff. Yeah, I just don't like it like as much as the USL kickoff. The USL kickoff did its job getting more returns, making it look really solid, look old school, while still being safer. But I would rather have if I were to have the NFL's full rulebook versus the XFL rulebook, I'd rather have the XFL rulebook any day. But I'd rather have the USL one above it. Good old Memphis. They're now 2nd and 10 again. They only gained about like half a yard there. EJ Perry hands the ball off again, and it's going to be about a yard gain maybe. So far, really bad opening drive. I understand you're in the red zone or you're in the end zone. You don't want to risk anything. But in that scenario, I would have passed or at least done some sort of read option, like a true read option. Because now you're at 3rd and 9. You're still right back in your own end zone. We'll see what ends up happening here. EJ Perry is in shotgun with one man to his right in the backfield. 3rd and 9. Let's see if they can pull this one off. Ball is snapped. EJ Perry drops back to throw. Looks over to his right. It's going to be a quick little screen check down. And blocking was not the best there. He does get about 7 yards, but he is short. They're going to have to punt this. There was some bad blocking right there. If the blocking had been a bit better, that would have been a first down, but is what it is. They only went with it because the NFL does it now. I mean, that's definitely the truth. The NFL adopted it, and so the UFL decided to do it. Which, granted, it's a bit counterintuitive when Cavante Turpin played with the USFL kickoff and was still a top-tier kickoff returner with this one, but I digress. I understand it from the NFL perspective, but yeah. Memphis is punting the ball once again. Let's see if this can be a better punt than the last time. Again, last time wasn't horrid. Just let's see if we can pull off a better one. Punt is up. It is going deep to the 40, to the 50. Going to be caught at the 43, up to the 50 now. And he's going to be tackled at the 49 in Memphis territory. So, Michigan is already getting the ball past midfield. They should, at bare minimum, get another field goal. Granted, you would like to see a touchdown here, but at least a field goal is what you want. 5 minutes and 12 seconds left in the first quarter. So far, not the most insane game, but again, it's only been 3 drives. Memphis has just been, that offense is not good. And it's kind of what I expected. I expected Memphis' defense to play much better than the offense. Again, the defense didn't do insane, but it did enough to hold them to a field goal. We'll see what they do here on their second drive, though. Let's see. Any notable updates on Twitter about this? Just tweeting more about Adonis Alexander's huge hit early in the game. Let's see. UFL Crunch Fitness. Okay. Good old Joe Tessitore calling a game for the UFL. Could you imagine that? That guy's just doing everything now. It's actually wild how much he's doing right now. I remember, it's just weird, but yeah. I will say, this is definitely going to be an interesting season for the Showboats. The Showboats, a lot of it with them is you just have a lot of question marks about that offense. Because even before Ken Wisenhunt stepped down, the big question was the offense more so than the defense. You kept Troy Williams, which again, you have a lot of maulers, so it makes sense. You're going with E.J. Perry as the starter. You overhauled a decent amount, but like certain guys like Vinny Papelli are not back. So you did lose some big offensive players. No Darius Victor, so you kind of threw a couple guys sort of under the bus when it was the offensive line. Like Darius Victor could only do so much behind a bad offensive line they had last year. And again, while it's only been 2 drives, through 2 drives, I can't say the offensive line looks to be that much improved over last year. Again, like how a lot of people are saying, Manny Wilkins didn't play all that well. It was just against a bad team. This is one of the best pass rushes in the league. When Levi Bell is sitting on your team and inactive, that means that your defensive line is insane. So yeah, Panthers defense playing great today. So far, for sure. I mean, they've just been able to make good stops. Again, runs up the middle in the end zone, most predictable plays ever. But at the same token, you'll see many times where a guy will just break through for 5 yards. The Panthers didn't let that happen in back-to-back plays. Were able to get the stop on the screen because the screen looked really solid, just blocking wasn't the best, and the Panthers were able to get on that. So, interesting to see what happens there. And of course, remember, after this game, the Birmingham Stallions will play the DC Defenders in the second game of the doubleheader today. Twitter down. Okay, it was down earlier today. I thought it was. Just wanted to get confirmation on that. Ironic how you see Twitter down trending on Twitter. I will say that. I think that's hilarious. Bryce Perkins. I forgot he was on that team. I knew he was on the Rams. I forgot he was on that Super Bowl team. He is a Super Bowl champion. That's great. He's going to try to get that UFL championship. That's all we got to see. Good old Perkins. He looked so good last year. If he can keep it up, man, it's going to be great. Made NFL debut in 2022. Played 5 games. He started like 1, I remember correctly. The good old Rams. Magoo over under 2 receiving touchdowns. Ooh, that's bold. I wouldn't be too shocked if he hits 2 of them, but that's a bold. That's a bet I wouldn't do, because that I could see that being 0. I could see that being 5. Let's see here. Perkins is in shotgun with 1 man to his right in the backfield. Bit of motion in front. Hands the ball off. And it's going to be about a 1-yard gain. Solid play by Memphis' defense right there. The DC game, at least in my opinion, is going to be a Stallions blowout or a close defenders win. DC getting the upset, I would just be so shocked. Skip Holtz is so good at opening week games. And this isn't like Luis Perez and the Renegades where it's about like 4 years. Like historically, Skip Holtz is just really good in those games. I just feel like Stallions are going to win, but I could see DC keeping it close. Can we get a good game around here? Well, we'll see. If Memphis' defense can hold them, this could be a low-scoring type of good game. Perkins is in shotgun by himself in the backfield. 3 receivers to his left, 2 to his right. Drops back to throw. Quick throws right to his tight end. It is going to be about a 5-yard gain. Breaks a little tackle. Gets about another 1.5 yards. Going to be about 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, like a long 2. Solid play right there again. Quick little passes to the open guy. Get some yardage. Let's see what they can do here. 3rd and 3. Again, Memphis needs to get a stop here, but 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Probably when they snap, it's going to be about exactly 4 minutes. Perkins has 1 man in the backfield with him once again. Lining up 2 of his receivers to the left, right next to the line of scrimmage. Let's see what they do. Or right next to the guards. Some more motion with Cole Hicatini moving to the right now. Going to pass. Fakes the throw. Breaks a tackle. Hurdles a man, and he gets the first down. That is what you love to see by a quarterback, bro. Doing a legit hurdle where he fully jumped over him. Guy went for a low tackle, jumped right over him. First down for the Panthers. That's the type of play from Bryce Perkins we were expecting. His ability to just run is incredible. Just straight up hurdled that man. That was insane. Michigan 2 and 3 and 3rd down. Perkins loves a hurdle. Dude is super athletic. I mean, granted, that's the one thing that a lot of people have feared about him. Some people I've talked to are feared that it could end up getting him hurt. We'll see. Colburn is in the backfield again, right behind Perkins, who is in shotgun. Ball is snapped. Hands the ball off to Colburn, who gets a solid 4 yards on that play. Really solid first play right there for that. Matt Colburn, again, really solid running back last year. And West Hills got hurt from that 2-point conversion play, if I remember correctly. He stepped up and continued to be a really solid running back. Ended up being one of the 5 best running backs in the league last year. And if he's able to continue doing a 1-2 punch this time with Nate McCreary, it could be really solid. Again, he's always been a really solid guy. So we'll see here. Perkins is in shotgun once again, with Colburn to his right in the backfield. Ball is snapped. Hands the ball off to Colburn again. Colburn gets tackled, and it's going to be about a half-yard gain. Talking about maybe seeing Danny Etling in the game. I wouldn't be super shocked, but at the same token, I kind of want to see just Bryce Perkins kind of do his thing. So we didn't get to see last year. He was spending a lot of time with Werke, right, when, you know, both Etling and Perry were hurt, so we'll see. Don't worry, Memphis Showboats will win this game upset. I wouldn't be too shocked Memphis does pull off the W. That defense, again, they're at 3rd and 5. Michigan got really good field position. If they can stop them here, that'd be a really solid stand by the Memphis defense. Perkins drops it back to throw. Throws it deep over the middle. It is going to be caught at about the 20-yard line. First down for the Michigan Panthers. Now, Michigan can keep doing this. Memphis is screwed, but we'll see. Again, that was a really solid pass right there. Saw his man was breaking open in the middle of the field. Threw it right to him. That's a solid play right there. Again, Perkins is continuing to look really well. This is what he looked like last year. He was somebody who was able to do a lot of things really well. So far, he's continuing that. He is once again in shotgun with 1 man to his right in the backfield. Some more motion. Almost every other place had some sort of motion with the receiver going one side or the other. Looks like a read option play. McCreary holds the ball, and he gets about 4 yards on the play. Going to be about 2nd and 6, maybe 2nd and 5. A minute and 15 seconds left in the first quarter. Going to be down to probably a little less than a minute once the ball is snapped here. Again, this is solid run down the clock, bit of a cheeky way to play, but makes sense. Minute left right now on the first quarter. Perkins is once again in shotgun with McCreary to his left in the backfield. Got 2 receivers out to his left. Motions McCreary to the right. Ball is snapped. Perkins drops back to throw. Throws it over the middle, and it is going to be caught by Marcus Sims for a first down. It's going to be about a 8.5. Maybe they're calling a 9-yard gain. First and goal for the Michigan Panthers. This is, again, really solid play by Bryce Perkins and by the Panthers offense. This is what we were hoping to see continue from last season. See that it wasn't just a flash in the pan moment like it was last season with 2 games. So, yeah. Yeah, the Showboats do not need to be behind like this. This is not what they want to see. Michigan is just playing Michigan football right here. They're just doing the work they need to do, running the ball, doing passes that are, safer passes, getting into the end zone. That's what they were trying to do. Let's see if I can stop them. Quick little pitch over to the running back, and it's going to be about maybe a 1.5 yard, 2-yard gain right there. And the first quarter is over. So the end of the first quarter, the score is 3 Michigan, 0 Memphis. Michigan is doing a really good job at controlling this game so far. They really are. Let's see. So this is not updating properly. There we go. Oh, that's my bad. I just... Dude, sometimes I hate how my thing is. But yeah, so far right here, let's see. Let's pull up the matchup real quick. So they're showing the team leaders. There we go. So far, this is pretty bad domination right now, not going to lie. Let me try and pull up the box score over here. I'm going to pull it up over on my thing. This is the one thing the UFL Game Center is good for. It's pretty much just that. Schedule, Michigan Panthers, Game Center, live stats. So far, looking at this summary of the team game comparison, Michigan has over 10 minutes of time possession compared to the just under 5 minutes that Memphis has. And that's considering the fact that Michigan hasn't even been getting the ball in the most insane field position. They've just been doing what they need to do. Getting the ball at around the 50-yard line, being able to take off a really solid amount of time. That's what you love to see. That's just good football. Michigan is a top 3 team in the league. Dude, I was shocked at how many people didn't have Michigan in their top 2, or especially top 3 in power rankings. I had them at number 2, and I thought that was like a really easy decision to put them at number 2. But for some reason, a lot of people didn't have them there. Like, continuity has always been a big thing with spring football. Like, I know a lot of people try to make arguments that, you got to improve your team. But look at Houston. Houston overhauled their roster, and if anything, they look worse than they did last year. Sometimes continuity is important, and so far, Michigan being the most continuity team is paying off. Again, it's early. It's only one game. It's only one quarter. But so far, it's paying off. So, yeah. Birmingham, Michigan, Arlington, top 3. I would be shocked. If Birmingham gets beat, I would be stunned. I would have fully agree. Right now, those are definitely the top 3 teams in the league, with St. Louis getting 4th easily and having a chance to go up higher as long as Manny Wilkins plays like he did this week, next week. Sims is that guy for sure. Dude is just a baller. San Antonio will show better than yesterday's game. It will be interesting to see if San Antonio can bounce back. They definitely need to bounce back, but we'll see for sure. You know what I mean? Like, it's always impossible to know exactly how well they'll play, but who knows? Magoo starting for Beeham? Yes, he is. Magoo is definitely starting for Beeham. It was announced. I would not be shocked at all if we see Matt Corral play. Like, if it's like last year with both Martinez and Corral played, wouldn't be shocked, but yeah. Showboats D looks better. Yeah, I mean, Michigan's just outplaying them, but overall, this defense last year would have already allowed like a touchdown 3 times over. Memphis' defense last year was pitiful. I mean, their team was pitiful, but their defense was horrific. Like, if I remember correctly, they were like by far the worst team in almost every stat. So, they're definitely better than last year. It's just they're going against a really good offense. Like, if you're on your first game as a defense and you have to play Michigan or Arlington, that's just like insane. Those are 2 offenses you don't want to play. And to that point, Mike, with the experience he has had at the wide receiver position in the NFL in the preseason and training camp and practice squad also could make him an even more dynamic player. Like, what Brian was talking about with the over-under receiving touchdowns. He could add another dimension to his game and make him even more incredible. Second and goal, Bryce Perkins is in shotgun. He drops back to throw, and he's going to scramble, and he makes a couple of good cut moves, but he gets tackled around the legs, and he's trying to keep going. He's still up, but he does end up getting tackled. Showed a bit of strength right there. He just kept moving. Only thing you don't like seeing about that is that could end up getting you hurt if you keep doing that up. He is a little bit limping right there, but he looks good now. Overall, he probably got maybe like negative half a yard, depending on where exactly they put him at forward progress. But yeah. Brahmas getting cooked next week. What are we on? Brahmas are on FS1 next week against the Battle Hawks in the Dome. I think that might be a sack. It might be considered one. No, it probably isn't. It's just probably a TFL because he did get past the line of scrimmage, then drop back. Perkins throws quickly to his left. It is going to be caught, but it is going to be about 2.5 yards short. Now, this is a really weird and interesting place. On one hand, you don't want to use all this time and only get a field goal, but at the same token, you don't want to go for a touchdown and fail. In all honesty, I would go for it here just because so far you've been able to thoroughly dominate Memphis' offense. Normally, in this scenario, I would kick the ball despite you only being 2 yards out. I would kick it. But because you just stopped Memphis at this same field position, even if you fail it, you're fully expecting to get the ball back. I like this call. Perkins is in shotgun. Motions a man in front of him. Ooh, bad snap. But Perkins gets it. He's going to run to the right. He's going to run to the right more. He should have just ran straight. Oh, he breaks a tackle. He's going. He's in. Touchdown, Bryce Perkins. That is what you love to see. That is an incredible play by Bryce Perkins. That was insane. That is what we wanted to see from last year with him. Incredible play by Bryce Perkins right there. That's what you love to see. Just insane. I mean, seriously, that is incredible right there. Man, that's insane. Bryce Perkins with the incredible play right there. He's so good. Dude, he is insane. Sup, Kick Surfer, nice to see you here. Dude, that's what made Bryce Perkins so good, is that he could do that. Gotta tweet about that. I have to. That was an insane play by Bryce Perkins right there. That's what you love to see. Let's see what they do here. Going for the extra point. Pump fakes, and he runs it in again. It is 10-0 Michigan over Memphis right there. Next, Adrian Martinez. He might be. I mean, that is what you love to see right there. That was an incredible play by him. Just insane. Gotta love it. That was an incredible run right there. He got hit by multiple guys, was able to just break a couple of tackles, just keep that strength up. I mean, dude, it's Bryce Perkins. He's just one of those guys who is a very strong player. Love to see that. Dude, yeah, what a TD for sure. That was just an incredible play by him. 100%. Just insane. Move that over there. There we go. Magoo, Corral, Cookus, and BM is a crime. Spread the QBs. Yeah, Cookus signing to the Battlehawks was just insane. I knew somewhat about that beforehand. I had been told by somebody that they were signing a quarterback that was going to be like really shocking. And when I saw it was Cookus, I was like, bruh, I couldn't believe it. He could easily start for multiple teams. I'd rather have him than Jordan Teamu. Kick is up to the 30-yard line for Memphis, and he gets tackled at about the 31-yard line. Already a much better start for them. Of course, last time was horrid, getting the ball at the literal 1-yard line because of a penalty. Interviewing Bryce Perkins at the sideline. This is just, you love to see this. Cook is signing the Battlehawks. Oh my god. I mean, the Stallions, yeah. Cook is definitely like, he's chasing that ring. I got that feeling. Birmingham bullied them. You know, the Stars in the championship games. So yeah. Dude, I've noticed that so far. This weekend is like, it's like these guys need a clinic on how to tackle. Ball is snapped. Troy Williams is in at quarterback. He's going to throw it to his right. It's going to be a really nice pass caught for a first down. Really nice pass by Troy Williams right there. But yeah, dude, like the tackling against the Renegades was terrible. The tackling against, like, dude, those 2 3rd and 18 screen passes. Oh my god. Like in Houston, St. Louis, like tackling has been really bad for a few teams. It's just insane. For sure. It's just, oh my gosh. Prime Stars Cookus was special for sure. He was insane. Ball is snapped. Troy Williams fakes it, and it ends up going to be about a 3-yard gain on the run down there. Again, very early on, but Troy Williams looking pretty solid right now. Again, there was a lot of questions about whether or not his performance last year was just due to the terrible offensive line play, and so far, Grant's still having 2 plays, but if he can keep what he's doing up, we'll see. Talking about EJ, how EJ Perry was with the team, of course, and then Troy Williams, how they played him multiple times, of course, back when he was with the Pittsburgh Maulers. So, yeah. Williams is in shotgun with one man to his right. Gets the snap, looks to his left, throws it again. Nice pass up to the 45-yard line. Going to be another first down. Again, so far, this is the best drive Memphis has had. And again, a lot of that is that Troy Williams is just playing really well right now. This is what you love to see. Good play by your quarterback, which they didn't have the last couple of times, but now they're getting it. 1st and 10 for the Showboats once again at the 45 or about the 44-yard line. Troy Williams calling some audibles, moves his running back to his left side. Ball is snapped. Hands off the ball, and it is going to be about maybe they'll give him about 1.5 yards with forward progress right there. There is a flag on the field, however. It'll be very interesting to see what that flag is. And, of course, Showboat's helmet on Jensen is off right now. Interviewing Jaron Horton right now in the booth. Gotta love it. Everybody expected him to be the head coach. I know some people are really upset that he wasn't named the head coach. I actually thought it was a good call. He is focused on the defense. Let him keep being focused on the defense instead of giving him extra things that he has to do. Again, yes, Michigan has so far gotten 10 points, but as we can all agree, this Memphis defense is looking a lot better than last year. Last year's defense was pitiful, and this season, at least to start the game, they've looked better. They've been able to make drives take longer instead of being just instant touchdowns like it was last season. Troy Williams is once again in shotgun with a running back to his left in the backfield. We got to make tackles, bro. True. Ball is handed off once again, and he gets tackled about 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. EJ Perry is currently on the bench. The Showboats are probably doing something similar to last season where they go multiple quarterbacks. EJ did the first couple of drives, and now Troy Williams is playing QB for them. Because that was basically the whole thing with them last year. Last season, they did a lot of switching between Case Cookus and Troy Williams, but they didn't do it in like a drive-to-drive. They did it in like a half-to-half, but right now they're seemingly switching them a couple of drives in, so now it's Troy Williams in at quarterback. Ball is snapped. T-Will drops back to throw. Looks over to the middle. Throws it. Is going to be caught for a first down. Again, Troy Williams making some good decisions right now, making the short, simple throws, seeing guys that are open, throwing it to him. He's looking pretty solid right now. This is the Troy Williams we saw back when he was with the Maulers. We did not see this version of him last season, and right now, playing pretty solid. Time for some of the live bet tracking with the new person, Aaron Dolan, who, of course, is the sports betting analyst, because we have to have that, apparently. All right, let's see. Troy Williams, again, in shotgun. Ball is snapped. Hands off the ball. It is going to be up to about the 27. I don't remember DC doing it, but New Jersey did it. New Jersey, back in 2022, of course, DeAndre Johnson and Luis Perez, they were swapping like in and out every couple of drives. You had your dual threat quarterback, you had your legitimate pocket passing quarterback, and you swapped them off. They're the team that did it the best. They actually did it, and it worked. And then when they couldn't do it in the playoff game because DeAndre Johnson was hurt, that's when it failed. That's the one thing I will say. The dual QB system can work if you have the right two guys doing it. The Generals did. It's just that injuries at the wrong time really hurt them. Troy Williams once again in shotgun, 2nd and 10. Ball is snapped. He is going to throw it here. Quick pass out to the left is going to be caught and is going to be about a 2-yard gain. Again, right there is what the Memphis Showboats didn't do, which is get a good tackle. With the expansion, hopefully next season, I hope they bring back the Generals or New York Guardians for sure. It seems like the key to success in this league is any dual threat QB who isn't a turnover machine. Defense have no idea what a QB spy is, apparently. Yeah, so far we haven't seen like any team really use it correctly. I mean, that was the whole thing with the Battlehawks. They got rid of A.J. McCarron because he wasn't a dual-threat quarterback. The only difference is Luis Perez is such a good pocket passer that he doesn't even need to run. He can, apparently, from what we saw yesterday with the 3rd and 12. But yeah, Troy Williams drops back to throw. Quick pass again, first down. So far, he's playing really well. This is very efficient, solid football. I don't even know if he's missed a single pass yet. Yeah, Luis Perez is an incredible pocket passer. He knows how to do it, so he's fine at being your quarterback. But most other teams are trying to get a dual threat quarterback. E.J. Perry, dual threat. Anthony Brown, dual threat. Manny Wilkins, dual threat. Handoff on first down, it is going to be about a 3-yard gain. So again, most of these teams, aside from the Renegades, are using dual threat quarterbacks because it just adds extra dimensions to your offense. But you still can win with a pocket passer. Again, Luis Perez. And the Battlehawks did make the playoffs with a pocket passer in A.J. McCarron last season. So yeah. Yeah, Ken Wisenhunt was the play caller. That's a good way to put it. Was. McCarron is slow and had the nerve to say he wished he picked up by another team to face the Battlehawks this year. Ball is snapped, handoff to the right, and he's going to be tackled at about the 11-yard line. I mean, hey, if you're a quarterback that wants to keep playing, of course you're upset you don't get picked up. But, like, the problem last year was more so Bruce Gradkowski. Gradkowski was a terrible offensive coordinator. The dude just made so many bad play calls that was baffling, yet he got away with it, and people acted like it was a bad thing that he got, the job with the Lions. If I'm a Battlehawks fan, I'm happy. That team doesn't play as well as they do on Friday if he's their offensive coordinator. Troy Williams is by himself in shotgun, drops back to throw on 3rd and 6. Looking to his right, he's scrambling up, and he's getting some guys going to him. Some terrible camera work by ESPN to make it to where we can't even see the sack happen. But Troy Williams is sacked, and he loses about 10 yards. This is going to be a long field goal for him compared to a very short one. I feel like Trey Lance thrive in this league. You'd hope so. I don't know for sure. Brahmas had a not-so-good game yesterday. Only thing I can say, did not go the way in an away game, but doing pretty much everything they had was not good. Yeah. Brahmas looked pretty bad yesterday. They really did, especially considering that Arlington had so many penalties. But yeah. Matt Conklin, I believe he is the only kicker that is back from last season on his respective team. He was incredible last year. 45-yard field goal. There is a flag. Kick would have been good if there wasn't a flag. Nice to see you here, Trevor. Again, it's the first time here. But yeah, this game is... Yeah. False start is going to be a 5-yard longer field goal. I wanted McCarron to go to SA, but we committed to Mon way early. Kellen Mond, man, hopefully he plays better, but yesterday wasn't insane. Yeah, I know people were talking about the horn in like the Discord early in the game about that horn being so loud, but yeah. Memphis might score. They definitely could. I mean, Matt Conklin is just a really good kicker. In AJ's defense, he said he found out about the firing because of his son on social media. That is pretty insane. But I do remember what you're talking about. It was definitely insane. The way they got rid of him was definitely a really, low move with McCarron. Kick is up. It is once again almost directly down the middle. Great kick by Matt Conklin. Again, he was an elite kicker last year. He's continuing to be that this year. Would not be shocked if he ends up being the all-UFL kicker this season. 10-3 is the score with 6 minutes and 15 seconds left in the half. T-Will looked good in that drive, 100%. He looked really good, making good, accurate passes, playing really solid. Trey Lance might just suck, period. He played 3 games. Yeah, he played 1 season at North Dakota State University, which, dude, almost any quarterback could play there and they'd be good. But yeah, I mean, Hot Rod going to the Battlehawks was definitely cool to see. Let me go to the stats real quick. So far, Troy Williams is 5 of 5 for 45 yards compared to 2 of 2 for 10 yards on E.J. Perry. So both have technically not missed a pass. But yeah, Troy Williams just looking a lot better. He's making deeper throws. Again, he's averaging 9 yards a pass compared to E.J. Perry, who was averaging 5 yards a pass. Granted, Bryce Perkins is 6 of 7 for 69 yards. And he's got 3 rushes for 11 yards, with one of them being a touchdown. So, yeah. Hold up. Maybe this is not fully updated. No, it is. I guess they're not counting that as a rushing touchdown for some reason. Let's refresh that. Great. So the UFL's official site stat page is just not working. It doesn't even show that Perkins is a touchdown. I don't know if it gets much worse than that. Immediately the best game here. Sadly true. I mean, not sadly, but definitely true. The other 2 games were just so much worse than this. Absolutely 0 players and coaches stood up for McCarron, and no teams gave him a look in camp. Coach Beck was right about him. Because let's call it like it is. There's a very real theory that could be true, that all of this drama with the PA is A.J. McCarron's fault. A.J. McCarron was the most vocal person against the USFLPA, as they were initially called. And then when the UFLPA, when they changed their name, came, he was still always against them. caused a lot of issues there. I wouldn't be shocked if he sparked the whole thing that ended up forcing the players to go to the UFPA instead of the UFLPA. Because I have seen multiple guys like tweets I've posted or put comments in other posts on Instagram basically saying that they don't like the UFPA. So I forgot who it was, but there's a Battle Hawk player that talked about it earlier today, is like about defending the UFPA. But a lot of this Players Association dramas could all stem from AJ McCarron causing this whole thing to happen. So definitely another thing that a lot of people are probably pissed at him. Basically, probably every person who liked the UFLPA doesn't like McCarron. That's just a theory, but I wouldn't be too shocked. Are your power rankings a lot different already? San Antonio's dropping a lot. Barring Birmingham gets beat by like 30, San Antonio is dropping at least like 3 spots in my rankings. The Battlehawks are better, and the Renegades are better. So they're already going to drop 2 spots, and they could drop behind DC depending how they play. And Memphis keeps this close. They move up 2. They might. Depends how DC plays, but they obviously, but yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people seem to think McCarron could be the problem. I think that from a football perspective, the issue wasn't McCarron, it was the coach. But from a off-the-football perspective, I would not be shocked if there were people who just weren't a huge fan of McCarron. I just wouldn't be. Return is up to about the 26-yard line. Again, I'm not an insider. I know people who are insiders, but I'm just giving my thoughts. I would not be shocked if there are players who dislike AJ McCarron. That's just how I feel. Butch Johnson stopped interviewing the coaches and players in the game. This thing is becoming gimmicky. I feel like I like the interviews, but I think they should do just a little bit less. Like going back to back to back to back is a bit weird. Like going Perkins right to like Mike Nolan, right to Jaron Horton, but I still like them, just not like every drive. You know what I mean? That's how I view it. It's like when the USFL had their comm thingy. I'll talk about that after this. Danny Etling drops back to pass. He is in the game right now. Quick throws out to the right. He's going to be caught. He runs back to try and get a move. Sims ends up losing maybe a couple yards that he could have gotten. Still about a 6-7 yard gain. The USFL had this like comm thing. I don't remember what it's fully called. Well, for a full drive, they would completely stop having commentators speak and it would only be the coaches talking. I liked that, and I liked how they only did it like once or twice a game. That was definitely something I wished would come back. I'm still behind Mon, but I agree you're right about yesterday was not his day. Yeah, he definitely did not play that well yesterday. He still looked better than Anthony Brown. I will say that. Ball is snapped. Etling fakes the handoff. He's rolling out to his right. He's going to run for it. He gets to about the 41-yard, or gets to the 39-yard line. Decent run right there. They need to just keep Perkins in. Yeah, like I understand getting Etling some snaps because they used this kind of dual QB thing last year to an extent. They're interviewing Jaron Horton again, apparently. But yeah. There's the 4-game stretch for Mon is going to be tough considering how he did. Yeah, especially considering that their first home game is next week against the Battlehawks, but it's, of course, in St. Louis, so it's not really a home game. Yikes. Ball snapped. Etling hands the ball off and is going to be about to the 42-yard line. Good defensive play by the Showboats right there. Going to be about 2nd and 10-ish, maybe 2nd and 11 right there. Green May, I believe he was another one of those former Maulers players, so good old Memphis Maulers. 2nd and 11, yep, they did lose about a yard in that. There's about 4.5 minutes left on this half. If you're the Panthers, you want to try and milk that clock as much as you can. Do not give Memphis another chance to score. Do not give them a chance to tie or hell even get the lead. Let's see. Ball is snapped. Etling drops back to throw. Throws it to over the middle. Deep throw, and it is incomplete. A bit too far of a pass. 3rd and 11. Do you think that this is more attended than the Houston game? I haven't seen a huge camera view of the home side yet. I would hope it's at least similar, but I do not know off the top of my head. But again, we'll see the official number for tickets distributed sold later. Looks so ominous. Yeah, it definitely is really weird seeing Acho right behind him like that. Etling is lining up in shotgun once again. Got Matt Colburn to his left. Ball is snapped. Etling drops back to throw. Scrambling out to his right. He might run for it. He's still looking for a throw, and he's going to run for it. He gets to the 45, and he gets out of bounds right at about the mark. Let's see where it gets exactly. My current power rankings are Houston, DC, San Antonio, Memphis with T. Will. Michigan, Arlington, St. Louis, Birmingham. Not a bad power rankings at the moment. Houston just really didn't look good. DC will be interesting to see what they do. 4th and 1 for the Panthers. If this is a short one, I would go for it, but I can't tell. They haven't shown that yet, but they are going to be punting it. Again, not a bad decision here to punt it. Hopefully the defense plays well again. That first drive from T-Will is really good. Yeah, the camera angle from the QB side is definitely a really poor choice. It makes it look insanely weird. Because I know you're talking about the one where it's like fully behind him. You can't tell exactly how far you're getting. Definitely not the best. Isaiah Henney, of course, another former Pittsburgh Mauler. Didn't have a great year last year when he was with the Roughnecks. But yeah. I mean, really, only the special teams really changed for the Panthers. Like, most of their rosters the exact same except special teams, the new punter and a new kicker. Punt is up, and it's going to go into for a touchback. E.J. Perry's coming back out? Hold up, wait a minute. Really? They're bringing back E.J. Perry out in the field? Okay, so very questionable decision right there. Hopefully it works out for them for Memphis' sake, but that is definitely not what you want to see right there. That's what I would say. Yeah, definitely a very questionable move, so hopefully it works out for him. I just saw that, what you sent me, Nope. I'm not the best with all those, because I know, like, some sites are all different, but we'll see for sure exactly how the attendance is later, but I think it's going to be at least solid. A closer look at that. Credit to Jaron Horton to call defense while there's, okay. W, tweet by Amir Catborough, put Perkins back in. Etling is no aura, true. I will say, I like Danny Etling a lot more than most other people do. I would still say that, like, no, if I could choose a starting quarterback, yes, I would clearly rather have Bryce Perkins. But yeah. That's still an incredible play by Perkins. That's definitely the highlight of the game so far. Just looking at some of this, nothing short of extraordinary. Bro, I love when people talk about bad tackling, acting like the NFL doesn't have bad tackling all the time. Like, dude, I feel like so many people forget that the NFL just doesn't have good tackling either sometimes. You know what I mean? Is this chest cam brand new? I believe it is. The helmet can, of course, we know, but that one, yeah, I think so. I think it is new. I think Arlington is better than St. Louis. I think Manuel could be fraudulent when he's forced to pass a lot. Arlington is definitely higher up right now. Arlington played a much better team. San Antonio, even with how bad Mon played, is a much better roster than Houston is, so their win is far more impressive than St. Louis. That's not to take anything away from St. Louis, it's just that Arlington's win is much better. So, Renegades are definitely, like, I put them ahead of St. Louis when they signed De'Veon Smith, and when you guess he had the 3, 1-yard rush TDs. So, yeah. Not watching, driving. Boogie is in, he's been in the whole time. He is a legit starter on this team for sure. I never really watched the USFL, only the XFL, and now the UFL. Who was the worst team? The worst team last year, from a stat standpoint, was Memphis. But Memphis somehow beat Houston twice, and Houston only won 1 win. So it was like that weird way where the objectively worst team was Memphis, but technically Houston was the worst team. They both were terrible, but, like, Memphis could beat Houston, but against every other team, they'd get, like, curb stomped. And this season so far, it looks like Houston is once again going to be terrible. Memphis is looking a lot improved. They're not great, but they're looking improved. Renegades are definitely better than the Battlehawks. I don't know why people have been low on them. Dude, like I was saying, the Renegades being like plus 1,100 to win the championship was insane. They should have easily been top 4, not down low. Michigan with Paxton Lynch. Hey, Paxton Lynch gave us that one great game against the Pittsburgh Maulers in Week 10. That was incredible. People forget the NFL isn't a sports entertainment. True. Will there be a QB power ranking ever week? I think that would be cool. I might do something where I put, like, as the secondary part of it, I might do one where I do something like that, because that definitely could be cool. Or if I get really out of ideas for a midweek video, maybe I'll do that. Well, yeah. Ball is snapped. E.J. Perry drops back to throw. Bit of potential holding. He just kind of throws a mallard. It is going to be intercepted by the Michigan Panthers up to about the 41-yard line. That is what you call a terrible decision. Like, dude, Troy Williams is... Oh, man, what a bad play call right there. Yeah, Pittsburgh Maulers year 1 was horrific. That team was awful. I thought Anthony Brown would really improve the Roughnecks, but he was just horrible. Yeah, dude, Nolan Henderson didn't even play good. And he was thorough. Like, people are glazing what Nolan Henderson did, he didn't play that great, but he still played much better than Anthony Brown. That says a lot. That play was terrible, bro. Yeah, I agree. Put T. Will back in. Yeah, I agree. T. Will needs to be put back in. That was embarrassing right there. That was like such a mallard throw. Dude, Webb is pissed. He just said put T. Will back in too, bro. Dude, somebody just literally said that. Bro. Danny Etling is still in at quarterback, hands the ball off. Again, I want to see Perkins back in, but, is what it is. Baltimore will get a UFL team. If they do, it would be for a while. They haven't been, any rumors at all. They don't have... The only team they could hope for is the Stars going there, but yeah. Never take T. Will out. Should have just taken the sack. Can we have one close game, please? I hope so. Because this is really our last hope unless DC pulls off a huge upset, makes it close. But let's see. 2-minute warning. If Memphis can hold Michigan to a field goal, it's not a one-score game, but it's a two-score game. It's a close one, so we'll see. You know what I mean? This could be good. This is something insane. I can't believe they put him back in. EJ Perry, you just watched your team do a great drive and you did that. Come on. Yeah, it's like I was talking about earlier. The Generals in 2022 are the only team that I've seen use that in spring football and have it truly work. It did. People forget that. It only failed because Johnson got hurt and Perez had to play the whole playoff game, and then that's when it failed. And even then, they were close to winning. Wasn't because of the offense, but still. It worked. But you have to have two quarterbacks that really work well and are different enough to justify it. Because if you're just putting in two different dual threat quarterbacks, it's really not going to work out for you. But the Generals are able to use a true pocket passer and a true dual threat quarterback, and that's why it worked really well. But since then, we've seen these teams try it. The Showboats last year was out of necessity because their O-line was so bad, they just kept flipping the Cookus and T. Will. Didn't work. The Panthers, the two games they did fully do it last year were because of injury, and that was with Lewerke and Perkins was always better than Lewerke. So it's just, you have to have the right two guys to have it work, and I can't say that any of these teams really have two guys where it would fully work. You know what I mean? That's how I would view it. That's what I would say. Let's see. Are they already posting about the interception? Bro, this is... Yeah, Michigan Pit did post that. That's so bad, dude. EJ Perry with the mallard throw. That's, so bad. Man, we were talking about parity. At least the Renegades look like they're going to be better than last year. But, man, the rest of the league, it could very well be we have 4 really good teams and 4 really bad teams. It really could be that way. Granted, it's week 1. We can't overreact too much. We can overreact a little bit because some of these... It's been pretty bad. Houston, really bad. San Antonio, yeah. What team should the UFL add next? I know they talked about how they fully haven't determined what they're doing yet. I know Ace did an interview with Danny and Russ, and there was it was clear they don't know for sure. I think either New Orleans or Seattle, and then a team in Ohio. Bring one team back, either the Sea Dragons, not Dragons, the Sea Dragons, much better name, or the Breakers, and then add an expansion team in Ohio. That's kind of how I think they should do it, but we'll see. Go T. Will and Michigan's best QB and go. Yeah, we need to see some more Bryce Perkins and not all this Danny Etling stuff. I like what the Battlehawks did, right? Once the game was fully out of hand, they put in Max Duggan to do things, aside from the one, long rush. And that's when they put him in to do things instead of just, putting him in like this with EJ Perry, where they're just kind of, or Danny Etling, where it's why? But yeah. Etling is in the backfield with Matt Colburn to his right. Ball is snapped. Etling drops back to throw, and he gets sacked immediately. That was great pressure by Memphis. Just gets two guys who just fully bullied their offensive line guys, and just easy. Good sack. Do you think Kellen Mond's a good start in the Brahmas? It's only one game. He looked better than Anthony Brown, but he didn't look that good. That's how I would say. He didn't look that good, but he looked better than Anthony Brown. So I would say do with that what you will. That's kind of how I view it. You know, big sack by Memphis. It is 3rd and 12. I'm kind of shocked they didn't call a timeout here. I mean, I guess they want to save two of them, but yeah. Ball is snapped. Etling drops back to throw. Looks to his left, throws a deep pass forward, and it is too high, incomplete. Memphis will get the ball back. This looks like it's going to be a long field goal. They might not kick it. They might try and punt it and hold Memphis, but we'll see. Birmingham is going to win the championship. I hope not. It would be really bad for the league. It would be awful for the league to see Birmingham win again, but we'll see. Michigan is going to punt this. Watch Anthony Brown start next week, bro. UFL need to have cheap tickets. Yeah, the fact they didn't go with the USFL is insane. The USFL ticket prices were so much cheaper than the XFL ones. Like, the XFL ones aren't expensive, but they're more expensive than USFL ones. They need to go back to the USFL ticket prices for sure. Punt is up. It looks like it is going to be recovered at about the end zone. Yep, touchback. 2 drives without Perkins. It doesn't look good. Yeah, for sure. At the next half, it better be Bryce Perkins back, or else it's going to be really, really questionable for them. Interviewing the sideline, bro. Because if you only have one team winning the championship, it makes it almost pointless to watch the league. Because it's one thing to have a team, win back-to-back, but the Stallions have already won 3 straight championships. And their worst season, they lost 2 games. They have 4 losses in their 3 years. Them winning again would just make it almost pointless to watch the league because Birmingham's going to win. The best case scenario is they make the playoffs as a 2 seed and get bounced in the first round. They're still a great team, but they're not insanely dominant, and it shows that other teams can win. Because if you just have one team winning, it gets like the 2010s UFL, where the Locomotives, ball is thrown by T-Will right at the ground. That's something that E.J. Perry should have done instead of trying to throw it. So already T-Will's looking better. But the Locomotives, the Las Vegas Locomotives, they went to they went to all 4 titles and won 3 of them, if I remember correctly. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. And so it just made the UFL pointless to watch, the 2010s, the fall UFL. Because you had one team that just kept dominating. So you do not want to see one team keep winning, because it just does nothing but make the league look worse. But you still want it to be good. You don't want to see the Stallions go to 5-5, but you don't want them to win the championship again. Handoff does the delayed handoff. It gets to about a 4-yard gain, going to be about 3rd and 6. Not calling a timeout, going to chew up some clock. Doing this to not give the ball back to Michigan with any time left, but still trying to be able to see if they get a first down here, they can do something. Let's see. Ball is snapped. T-Will drops back. Rolls it to his left. It's going to be thrown. It is a bit too low. They call it an interception. I thought they hit the ground. Wow, that is an insane interception. I thought they hit the ground. Intercepted by Michigan. That is really bad for Memphis right there. As long as Birmingham has had different opportunities than every other team, they all started the same way. I mean, they all started the same way, but if you have one team that just keeps winning, it's man, it's just tough to watch it. I have Arlington winning the championship. I picked them before the season started. I just thought their team improved a ton on defense. I think they're better. The UFL live stream games on YouTube, football games. What? Gives the ball back to Michigan. Another one who my King T-Will messed up. Yeah. It looks like they are punting it. It sounds like. I think they're gonna say that it was an incomplete pass. That's what I thought. I thought it hit the ground. Yep, incomplete pass. They're gonna punt it. That's what I thought. I thought it was an incomplete pass. It looked like it was way too low to be an interception. Yeah, I agree with that. It looked pretty clear to me that it was an incomplete pass, but I was like, oh, okay, they're calling it, so maybe. Oh, man, Decent Div as a team looked really bad. It's a lot better. It was really bad last year. Dude, I just misspelled about 3 words in that tweet. W speller. Yeah, major bullet dodged for sure. Punt is up. It is going to be a pretty long punt right there. Recovered at about the 20-yard line. He's trying to make a couple moves, and he is still on his feet, but he gets tackled. They're just going to kneel this one out. 23 seconds, not enough to really do anything. Trying to see if there's any other big posts on Twitter right now. I hope Michigan blows out Birmingham. What NFL players do you think the UFL should go and get? I mean, any of those guys who are lower... Well, it has to be guys who aren't really on an NFL roster, because if you're even, like, a full-time practice squad guy, it's hard to justify getting them. But mainly it's probably going to just be quarterbacks and offensive linemen. I can't think of any names off the top of my head. You know, there's a couple big names, like Trace McSorley isn't on a team right now. He'd be a fun one to get, but yeah. Trey Lance would be hilarious, but he's probably going to go CFL. They are going to go for a pass play here by Edling. It is a first down play and gets about another 3 yards. They should call a timeout here. They do. They're going to go for a field goal here. Yeah, I agree. Last year, Showboats' team would have looked even worse. That defense was terrible last year. But right now, their defense is playing solid. Like, yeah, that play right there isn't what you want to see, but overall, the defense has looked a lot better. Dude, this is insane. If they can pull off a touchdown here, or if they can pull off a field goal here, that'd be huge for them. Seems everyone I read loves Mike Pereira, but I like Pereira better. He just overall seems to know and say things in a better way. Like, I don't dislike Dean Blandino. I like him, but Pereira I think is just a better one. That just comes from the experience he's had. He's done it for so damn long. But yeah. Close game so far. Yeah, it's been a lot better than the last couple. These games were blowouts yesterday and Friday, but this was definitely looking better. Coburn goes to the sideline, goes out of bounds. My dad lives in the same neighborhood as Trace McSorley. Bro, throw it on a dime. The rest of that song, I don't remember the rest of that. The memes. Dude, Trace McSorley, the fact that he was like the biggest thing on like YouTube for like a couple weeks was hilarious just because of that stupid song. Stallions DC, man, I hope that game isn't bad, but I could see that being another Showboats Stallions 42-2 type of game. Etling drops back to throw once again, looking over to his left, running, and he throws a little mallard, but it is a good pass. It is caught by Coburn to the right, and he gets out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. They would have to do a very, very quick throw deep in the middle, call an immediate timeout, and even then it'd be a long pass. Ooh, that's not good. Etling is down right now. Etling is on the ground right now still. He is on his hands and knees. He's not lying down, but he does look to be in a bit of pain. He got hit right in the middle. He either got his wind fully blown out of him, or he may have hurt his ribs. Ooh, and was like right to the midsection for his helmet. Etling is still down. Still down. Yeah, dude, he got speared, that's for sure. Targeting. Talking about the rules about this. He is walking. Yeah, I agree. That was a foul. He lowered his head, so they are adding a penalty. Of course, again, this is why the UFL is better than the NFL. The UFL officiating actually is good. You have a replay booth that can look at things. So that's a 15-yard penalty, and that's deserved. That was a clear, I mean, we all saw, he speared him with his helmet. That wasn't like a WWE spear where it was with a shoulder to him. That was a straight helmet to sternum hit. So 15-yard penalty. Michigan is able to get a field goal here if they get a decent play right now. They need to do a quick pass through the middle because they do have a timeout left to kick a field goal. I will say Memphis right now holding on to 3 timeouts looks really bad. Again, Memphis will be able to ice the kicker if Michigan does get a few more yards to kick a field goal. But the fact that they're going to be going into half with at least 2 timeouts in their pocket is never a good thing. You hate seeing a team have timeouts in their pocket going into a half, especially more than one. So, yeah. Yeah, we're going to... Yeah, the UFL officiating is just so damn good. I mean, it really is. You can actually see when a play is, needs to be overturned or something. The NFL, it's like you'll see a clearly bad roughing the passer call and you just can't overturn it for some stupid reason. I mean, the UFL is just so much better. The fact the NFL hasn't adopted it is just insane. My theory is the whole thing with the refs back in, I don't remember what year exactly, but back with, the Aaron Rodgers, the Fail Mary, when they were striking, showed just how bad that replacement guys are, gave the officiating, the refs more power. But overall, dude, it's just like the NFL needs to have these things, and they just don't. Danny Etling is in the blue tent. Kind of. He's trying to leave. He's trying to go back. That's great. Again, they're at the 48-yard line. They need about at least 10 yards to make this a more doable field goal. It'll still be a super long one, but yeah. Bryce Perkins is in shotgun. All his guys are lined up to catch the ball. Throws it quick over the middle, exactly what you want to see, and he gets down to the 40-yard line. They're going to call a timeout. They should have called timeout. Yeah, it looks like they're going to put 1 second back on the clock right there. Let's see what happens here. Do they kick the long field goal? ...40-yard line. I believe this would be exactly a 60-yard field goal. Or be like a 55. Yep, 58-yard field goal. About a 60-yarder. Let's see if they do it here. Yep, they are going to be kicking this. Again, this is what you want to see. Jake Bates was able to make 60-yarders. If BT Potter can make this, oh man, it's going to be huge for Michigan. It is officially a 58-yard field goal attempt. Super long kick. Jake Bates was able to make these. Let's see if BT Potter can do this. Ball is snapped. Kick is up. It is going to the left. It is not good. No good. 58-yarder is no good. Gonna put out this tweet. Started slow. Mike, your team started slow when you decided to put in the wrong quarterback. You need to put Bryce Perkins in. You need to just not put in Danny Etling. Come on. I miss Jake Bates. Hey, that with the wind being there, I wouldn't have been shocked if Bates would have missed that kick, because Bates did miss a few late in the season. Of course, the most famous one is the missed game-winning field goal against the Stallions in Week 10, but we'll see. Yeah, Michigan gets the ball. That is a key point. That is a really good break for Memphis right there to, kind of get bailed out from that bad penalty that they did. Because the fact that if Michigan had scored there, they would get the ball again. It could very well be like, 19-3, 21-3 if Michigan would score a touchdown. So now, worst case scenario, Memphis is still going to be within 2 scores of them. Definitely a really good break for them. Yeah, this is definitely a better game so far. I wouldn't say this is a great game. Like, I wouldn't even have this at A tier. This might be a B tier game in my tier list, but it's definitely a lot better than the last two. The last two at this point were just like you knew who was going to win. Memphis is still doing enough to stay in it. Again, T-Will had the almost interception, but overall he's looked really solid. If he keeps playing quarterback, this could definitely be a game that Memphis could get right back into it. Memphis' defense has played much better than the defense did last season, and that's been a huge thing. Again, Bryce Perkins is 7 of 8 for 77 yards compared to Danny Etling 4 of 6 for 30 yards. T-Will still outplaying EJ Perry. EJ Perry, after throwing the interception, has a 16.7 passer rating. He's entering in Anthony Brown territory right now, which is not what you want to see. So yeah, but we are in halftime now. Again, very interesting to see what ends up happening for the first drive with Michigan. I would imagine both teams probably realize now that one quarterback is thoroughly outplaying the other one. So in theory, they need to stick with it being T-Will versus Bryce Perkins, because those have been the two best quarterbacks this game by far. If you don't do that, there's going to be some issues. But we'll see. let's see. What is the current score in the PGA? I don't know when the... I don't remember what tee time form... Okay, so the tee time has started. Wow, -3 for that guy. Yeah, today's going to be big deal. Scotty could finally get another win. Bro hasn't won in like 8 years. It feels like... I know it hasn't been that long, but it feels like that. Let's see. So far, it's still going good. Mike hasn't cut out. That's what we love to see. Put that over there. 16 teams, I feel. How many teams do you think the UFL needs to be good for? I honestly think at 12 is, well, it depends exactly what they want to do. 16 definitely would be a really solid one. Have 2 conferences, 2 divisions in each. But you could get away with that with 12. 12 teams is, I would say, the minimum ideal amount, because then you could have 2 conferences of 6 teams. Have 2 divisions, 3 teams in each division. The number 1 seed gets a bye. You have 1 wild card in each division. You know, it'd be a really solid one. I would say that's probably the bare minimum you need. But 16 would be a solid one too for sure. I would create my own football league. Hey, if you have $1 trillion, bro, you can do whatever you want. You ain't gonna have anything happen. Formula 1 returns. I don't care. I'm sorry. I'd rather watch NASCAR. That's how I would view it. I don't know what it is, but I just could care less about F1. I think that it's, very overrated. Personally, I know that might be a hot take. I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of it. The Stallions versus Defenders. Man, I hope that's a good game. It probably won't be, but I would hope it is. Because, I mean, you have the big issue, of course, the fact that DC just doesn't look good. They got their announcers there, Mark Jones, Roddy Jones, showing him there. Hopefully we get some good attendance for that game. Again, last year, at the end of the year, there was a few games where it was very clear the announced attendance was heavily inflated because of season ticket numbers. So hopefully this one ends up having a lot of people there. Get the beer snake up and running again. Very cool to see that, but we'll see. Yeah, making this the NFL G League, though, is something that a lot of people don't want to see. Because it being its own semi-professional... Because that's what it really is. It's like a semi-pro league, in a sense. Where it's still a pro league on its own, but it's not part of the anything else. I like that about it. Because it makes it its own unique identity. Because if it's with the NFL, a lot of things are probably going to suck about it. If it joins the NFL, they're probably going to get rid of things that people like, because that's what the NFL does. I get it's because of injuries, but something like the hip drop tackle being banned is such a stupid rule. And then you have other things, like pass interference rules being as bad as they are. It's just, yikes. Dude, I don't know if it's sleeping on DC. Te'amu is not a great quarterback. He's an okay quarterback. The whole hope is Abram Smith is back fully healthy. Because if he's not, you're going to have a bad running game again. Your receiving core is going to be similar to last year, which was not great, but okay. Defense wasn't insane. I don't think it's going to be much better. Coaches aren't really here. They know they're going to leave. So, yeah. I honestly think that DC has been the most overrated team of the offseason. I've said it before. Them and St. Louis, because of their fan base, are always 2 teams that are like the Cowboys, are always overhyped. But St. Louis's roster does justify the hype. DC's never did. From the beginning of the true 2025 offseason, close to training camp, DC was clearly the weakest team in the XFL conference, and they've gotten weaker, whereas every other team has gotten better. So, you know what I mean? I say that with San Antonio getting crushed, so maybe not them, but I don't think DC is going to be all that great. I think they're going to be the weakest team in the XFL, and I still stand by it. But I will say they're moving back up above the Roughnecks in the power ratings. My God, the Roughnecks just look terrible. Minus 15.5 was what this was at one point. That's crazy that it was ever that high. The defense excites me. Nice see G-Man here. Yeah, the defense, we were talking about it earlier, so I know you weren't here. The offense needs T-Will in there. EJ Perry is not it, but the defense has definitely looked a lot better than last year. For how many, they haven't been insane, this defense last season would have allowed like 30 points. So definitely a huge upgrade. Best coach in the league is Skip Holtz by a mile, just because he keeps winning. Then Mike Nolan, and then Wade Phillips. Granted, Brahmas looked really bad yesterday, but heading into the season, that was my ranking. Number 1, Skip Holtz. Number 2, Mike Nolan. Number 3, Wade Phillips. Number 4, Bob Stoops. Reluctantly, number 5, Anthony Becht. And then number 6 at this point, I have no idea who I'd put there. DC had a pretty bad offseason, not going to lie. I should have tried to get Vinny Papelli. Facts. C.O. Grayson, facts. Or ARW. I believe he's still a free agent. That's another one that they could have definitely gotten. Talking about how Florida quarterbacks playing isn't surprising. I think it is at this point. We all know who the better quarterbacks are right now, they got to say. Can't say I like Wade staying in the booth. Yeah, that was only a very bad call for sure. Curtis Johnson is a legend. Why Anthony Becht so low? I mean, like, if you say who is the best coach, it's Skip Holtz. Who is the second best coach? The guy that won Coach of the Year. Who's the guy that's won a championship? Bob Stoops. Who is the one that, again, it's been 1 week, but overall who's been a better coach? Wade Phillips. Because historically, Anthony Becht can't win the big games. The 2 biggest games he's had were the Dragons in Week 9 back in 2023 and the Brahmas playoff game last year, and the Stallions game I might add back in, I believe, Week 7, 6, 8, one of those 3 weeks. He lost all 3 of them. That's how I look at it, right? Because the other big game, I do this because the Brahmas in Week 10, they were missing their running backs. They were hurt, and their quarterback was hurt, and it was still a close game. And that falls a lot on the head coach. Anthony Becht is one of those guys who is like a value version of Dan Campbell. He's a good players coach, but he's not a top coach in this league. He's a good coach, but if you could take Bob Stoops and put him on St. Louis, you'd be crazy not to. That team would be an automatic upgrade with Stoops at head coach, or with Nolan at head coach, or Skip at head coach, or if he's on the field, Wade at head coach. That's kind of how I view it. But would I rather have Becht than CJ? Of course. I'd rather have Becht in a heartbeat. I would have rather had Becht than Reggie Barlow. But that's how I view it. The championship game is expected to be in St. Louis again, sadly. We were hoping it would be in DC, but DC has a lot of other things going on in Audi Field at that time. It hasn't been made official, so they might have seen a lot of the backlash to the game being in St. Louis to where they might be trying to put it somewhere else. Because they want to put it in a dome, in theory, or in a place that's higher up north because it's in the summer. The best case scenario is it's in protective in Birmingham or in a neutral place like Tom Benson's, because St. Louis last year did really bad in terms of people there, but we'll see. Yeah, Wade definitely deserves that, but at least he did beat Becht in that playoff game. And I will say, the Roughnecks time, they lost, if I remember correctly, their 3 losses in the regular season were to the Battlehawks, Dragons, and Defenders. So it's definitely a close call between those 2, but it's just like I would still rather have Wade than Becht. But Stoops definitely, I think, has been very underrated. I think a lot of people have been kind of not hating on him, but acting like he hasn't been a great coach in this level, which I disagree. Yes, they lost a lot of close games, which does fall under the coach last year. But as we're seeing right now, this team looks to be much improved, and they did win a championship, which, again, in this group, he's the only guy that's not Skip Holtz that can say he won a title. If we did miss six tackles in one play, true, that was bad. Missing all those tackles for sure. Yeah, I would definitely say the top 2 coaches are pretty clear, and then after that, I would still say it's Wade, but I wouldn't be against you putting Stoops at 3. That's kind of how I view it. Because the 2 interim coaches, again, it's very early on to call what they are. And, of course, with Shannon Harris, odds are he's bailing, to Tennessee State, so it doesn't really matter where he ranks in the rankings. But, yeah. And then CJ, of course, is last right now. I don't think anyone... I mean, people would rather have Tom Cable at head coach, the guy who just joined the team, the only, new addition, so yeah. That's just kind of how it is. Kickoff is getting close to happening again for the second half. Hopefully it's, still good. Keeps being a competitive game. Hasn't been like the most insane, tightly contested game, but Excuse me. But overall, it's been a more competitive game than the last couple we've seen. Hopefully it keeps going. Wow, Michigan really put out 2 tweets about halftime. That's wild. DeFilippo would have been a better hire for Houston at midseason. True. True. 4 quarterbacks playing so far. Wow, they're really trying to glaze the quarterback position right there about the talent. I mean, we clearly see that 2 teams are better, that our 2 quarterbacks are better than the other 2 so far. How do they not fire CJ after last year? I have no idea. No, I will disagree heavily with that. For how bad CJ is, there is a coach that we all know and hate who's worse than him. There is one coach that is clearly worse than Curtis Johnson in this era of spring football. A certain guy that cut a player because he had the audacity to not want chicken salad. That guy, yikes. Stadium is packed. Well, hopefully it's some good numbers. We'll see. Hopefully DC's good too. Let's see. Ball is kicked off. Michigan gets it up at the 4, up to the 10-yard line. The 20 to the 25, running to the left. He gets touched. 30, 35, out of bounds right at the 35-yard line. Dude, Houston getting Kirby Wilson would be hilarious, dude. Immediate downgrade somehow. That'd be hilarious, dude. Kirby Wilson was so bad. Dude, he watched Vad Lee pull off the only W of the season, then like a game later said, yeah, time to bench you for Roland Rivers. Like, really? Like, dude, that was so bad. Vad Lee was the best QB they had that year, and they benched him out, like, for no reason. First half stats. I mean, Michigan has outgained them thoroughly, but again, Memphis' defense has played really solid so far. Was Kirby the guy that fired the player? Yes. He fired Devion Smith, you know, the guy that just had 3 touchdowns yesterday. Ball snapped up in the middle for about a 2.5-yard gain. But yeah, he fired Devion Smith because he wanted pizza and not chicken salad. Classic moment in that United About Football. What a great episode. Again, right now, let's see if they can pull this off. Again, Bryce Perkins is back in at quarterback, which we want to see. We want to see him at QB. 1 man to his right in the backfield. Motions him out to the right. The ball is about to be snapped. Ball is snapped. He drops back. Immediately throws to his right for a little screen. Check down. Makes a move. Gets about a yard. Going to be about 3rd and 7. What ex-coach from before the merger would you like to come back? I know he's coaching in Europe right now. Bart Andrus would be the one I would immediately pick up on. I would love to see him back coaching in this league, but of course, you know, he's not here right now. Hazlitt's old, but I would still like to see him come back. That'd be cool to see as well. And Mike Riley, I wouldn't be against that one either. Those would probably be the 3. But like I said, I know Bart Andrus has a job right now, but those would be the 3 off the top of my head. Perkins is in the backfield by himself. 3 receivers out to his left, 2 out to his right. Ball is snapped. Looks over to his right. Quick throw to his right. Isn't be a diving catch. It's going to be about a yard short. Let's see what they do here. Breaking. Wilson cuts Justin Hall for having a minor complaint regarding the temperature. That would be a Kirby Wilson thing to do for sure. Looks like they're going to be punting this one off. Not against that fully. Hopefully we see a certain Troy Williams come back out to kick for or to play quarterback for this Showboats and not E.J. Perry, but we'll see. I also wouldn't be shocked at a fake here. Michigan did do some fakes last year. This would be a good chance to do it. Your first play or your first 4th down on the second half, you fake it. Wouldn't be super shocked at it, but probably going to punt it. Let's see. Ball is snapped. This is going to be a punt. Punt is up. Going to be caught at about the... It's going to be down within 5 yards. Ooh! Looks like it's a touchback. Just barely, but a touchback. They could hire... Bruh. Dude, Houston could hire literally anybody. Houston could promote Anthony Brown to head coach, and it would be an upgrade to most people. Punt is a touchback. It was almost a beautiful inside the 5 punt, but... Yeah. Let's see. While we're in this little bit of a break, let's check the PGA right now. Let's see if Scotty's coming back right now. Minwoo Lee still is even so far. Scotty is still even for the day. Not what you want to see. Woodland is getting closer to that. That is good to see. Somebody else trying to compete. Let's see. If AJ Smith or Jaron Horton get a head coaching job, I know a lot of people are hoping at least one of them does, and I'm not fully against that. Like, I would like to see one of them get a head coaching job. They've been two of the best coordinators in this modern era of spring football, and they're both young guys who getting a head coaching job would be a big deal for them. I would hope so. I mean, I wouldn't be super shocked if, like, after the season, Jaron Horton gets that job with the Showboats or maybe some other team, but, you know, we'll see. Definitely will be interesting, but, you know what I mean? Hopefully. Memphis getting the ball back again. Scores 10-3. The live line being 30 and it's insane, but yeah. I will say, I expected this to be a low-scoring game. So far, the other two games, I technically got 3 for 3 picks right on Arlington. Granted, I thought it was going to be a close game, but, you know, it wasn't. But I technically went perfect on that one in that regard. I did predict this would be a low-scoring game for both teams. I expected this to be one of those games where the defenses played really well. And granted, they have, but a lot of it's also just bad quarterback choices. But, yeah. Who do you think should be the head coach of DC next year? That's a big question because if what Barlow said ends up being true, the entire DC staff is going to be gone. Like, the entire staff. So it's going to be somebody who needs to be able to get other coaches to where that would be your best choice to try and get somebody who used to be a coach in spring football back or just a guy who has head coaching experience. Because, like, for instance, if somebody gets the job in Memphis, you have people in place, right? When CJ gets fired, you have people in place. But DC would be a full start over, so in that regard, I would like to see an experienced head coach or somebody who at least has been a head coach get that job. That's what I would say for DC. For hopefully Houston and Memphis, you could get really anybody. I'd like to see a younger guy that hasn't been a head coach before, but you can get anybody. DC, though, needs a legit head coach just because of the fact the team's going to be so different. Because it looks like you're just going to have the GM stay. Because it was initially expected that some people were going to stay. But yeah, DC will probably have an overhauled roster. Yeah, especially if they don't do anything this year like it's expected. Then for sure. Next Saturday, Memphis Showboats versus DC Defenders at night. A primetime game. Then we get the Houston Roughnecks versus the Renegades at noon. On ESPN. Gotta love it. Arlington getting back-to-back home games against back-to-back Texas teams. Gotta love it. Let's see what the Showboats do here. E.J. Perry is, for some very, very weird reason, still in at quarterback. So, let's see if he can, play well this time. He has a running back to his left. He is in shotgun once again. Ball is snapped, hands the ball off, or fakes, and he ends up getting to the just before the 30-yard line. About a nice 4.5-yard gain right there. Perry's still in. Yeah, definitely a shame to see that. I wouldn't be against it if Hazlitt is, out of a job and he wants to come back and coach. I know he's, like Wade, he's an older guy. I would like to see him come back. He did a solid job with the Sea Dragons. It'd be cool to see him back. 2nd and 6 for the Showboats. If they do expand like everybody expects them to, they're going to add 2. They're not going to add any more, any less. There's going to be 2 teams added, probably 1 to each conference, and they're going to keep the conferences being the same as well. E.J. Perry fakes the handoff out of under center. Throws a bit of a pass too low, but it is caught and it's a first down, and it gets about 2 extra yards, about an 8-yard gain right there. Solid play. One of the first really good plays we've seen E.J. Perry make so far. If he can keep that up, then that'll be really solid. Again, 1st and 10 for the Showboats now at about the 37-yard line. Will they add games is a big question. Some people would expect they would only add maybe 2 weeks, but who knows. Passes, or snap is up. There is a flag. Looks like it might be a free play. It is caught at about the 40-yard line in Michigan territory. As long as that penalty is offsides, it's a good play right there. Yep, offsides, free play, good play. My assumption is if they add 1 team to each conference, right, you're adding 2 games, you'd probably take away 2 games on them. I would imagine they probably keep the same schedule, 10 weeks, you just don't play 2 teams. That would be my guess. Daryl Johnson did say that geography doesn't matter. So odds are Sea Dragons definitely could return, and then someone else. Didn't hear the play, bruh. E.J. Perry gets the ball, and he hands it off once again. up to the 40-yard line, up to the 35-yard line. That's about a 8.5, maybe they'll call it 7-yard gain for the Showboats right there. This is so far looking like their best drive under EJ Perry. If they can keep this up, they'll get at least a field goal, make this game a 4-point game. Remember, a 9-point game is a 1-score game. Again, it's only 7, but yeah. See the Memphis fans in this back. The few of them that are there, but you love to see it. We're rolling now. Yeah, this is definitely looking pretty good for him. Handoff once again up to about the 30-yard line. Nice play there. First down. They can keep this up. This will be really solid. Again, this is definitely the best drive Memphis has had with EJ Perry all day. Hopefully, he can keep this up. When they got rid of CJ and became a Houston fan, might be the worst decision I made. Yeah, that was pretty bad to be a Houston fan after what happened last year and looking like this year. But hey, it can only go up from here. I mean, if you get blown out again, you already did. No, it can't get worse. Handoff again on first down. Gets tackled right about the line of scrimmage. Might get about half a yard right there. Deneric Prince, former running back of my Chiefs. Gotta love seeing all these former NFL guys getting some chances here. Oh, the ref couldn't catch that ball. Right to his chest, bro. L catch by the ref. Hopefully he, works on that a little bit. They're going to give him a little over half a yard. Going to call it 2nd and 9. Now this is like a longer 2nd and 9, but still. Still doing the interview with Dresser Wynn. I believe that's just Dresser Wynn. Because I say I believe because we saw some random change. Garantano was apparently no longer with the Brahmas, just out of nowhere. EJ Perry drops back to throw. He's going to scramble. He's going for it. He's running, and he gets tackled, and he is down about 2 yards past line of scrimmage. Right there, that's something that the Showboats and mainly the Roughnecks need to get better at. That is just open field tackling. Good tackling by the Panthers right there. Going to be a long 3rd down, 3rd and 7, but they are in field goal range. As long as they don't, do anything, they'll be fine. It can only go up from here. 0-10 watching from the shadows. Dresser Wynn has to go in the Hall of Fame for best names ever. Yeah, pretty good. EJ Perry is in shotgun with one man to his left in the backfield. All his receivers are relatively close to the center. Let's see here. Ball is snapped. Perry drops back. Immediately throws out to his right. It's a bit high of a pass. Not a great throw. It is going to be incomplete. They're going to have to kick a field goal here. Again, Matt Conklin is a great kicker. I fully expect him to make this kick. Let's see. 1 and 6 on 3rd down. Yeah, that is not a stat you want to be bad at. Showing that chest cam. Good tackle. Let's see if Matt can make another kick. He's already made one today. BT Potter has missed a kick. Granted, it was almost a 60-yarder, but let's see if Conklin can make a second kick here. Again, I believe he's the only kicker back from last year. 45-yarder kick is up and almost... I take that back. That was a perfect kick. Right down the middle, essentially. Beautiful kick by Conklin. 10-6, Michigan over Memphis with 8 minutes and 10 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. That was still easily the best drive the Showboats have had with EJ Perry in at quarterback. Though I still think they need to go back to Troy Williams. We'll see if they do that next drive. And hopefully we see Bryce Perkins continue to play for the Panthers. We'll see. Gotta love it. We've finally seen some good play from the Showboats offense. Even if it's not a lot, it still is a little bit of good play, but yeah. Joe Tess, bro. People are talking about how he's a good commentator. Facts. Conklin bound for the NFL. Yeah, he's definitely a guy that I'm shocked hasn't really gotten an NFL chance yet because he's somebody that has just consistently been a good kicker at this level. And again, being a good kicker is just being a good kicker. There's not, there's only so much of a difference with kicking from the UFL to the NFL. I mean, hopefully it keeps going up. Yeah, Blewett is on the Roughnecks. He replaced J.J. Molson after he got hurt. But of course, he wasn't with them last year. But in terms of returning kicker for their team, Conklin, I believe, is the only one. And then I think the only other kicker that was in the league last year was Blewett. So it's interesting to see a lot of kickers change. Granted, because you only had, Jake Bates left to go to the NFL. So it's kind of shocking how many changed. Of course, while Destroying is back, technically, that is true. Destroying is back. Donald De La Haye. But to be fair, he got hurt and only played like 3 games last year. So he's technically back as well. Showboats hate. I don't know what Showboats hate. It's just the offense ain't doing too great. As long as they put him back, we'll see. I really thought Blue was going to be Panther. Yeah, definitely was one of the more shocking ones. But, as long as BT Potter can, make kicks that are, not 60 yards, but at least 50-yard kicks, hopefully we'll be fine. Because, of course, that's a big deal with, Michigan had the kicker that was the all-UFL kicker. Arguably should have went somebody else, but was the all-UFL kicker last year, could make 60-yarders with, relative ease. So we'll see. No, that 0-10 was about the Roughnecks. That was talking about Houston. It can only go up from here, the Roughnecks. That was the 0-10. Because an Oregon fan talking about how he became a Houston fan, and I said it can only go up from here. So that's what that was about. Oh, I forgot the FA Cup was going on right now. Let me see what the score is for that. That's another thing I got to follow. Okay, so Man City won 2-1, not shocked. Aston Villa winning, not shocked. Crystal Palace over Fulham, don't know the teams enough. Nottingham Forest over Brighton, don't know teams enough. The NFL draft, man, I can't wait to watch it and watch two quarterbacks with one of them that everybody seemingly hates with Shedeur Sanders get drafted super high. I definitely think Cam Ward's the best quarterback in this class. How good will he be at the NFL level? Don't know, but I definitely think he's the best overall. PJ Hall, players like him are the ones you want to see in this league. Guys who have played in the NFL, who are high draft picks, who want to keep playing football, want to try and get another one. Gotta love it. Volume turned off, bro, lol. Ball is snapped. Ooh, fumble, but the Panthers do get it. That was almost a really bad break for Michigan right there, but they do get the ball back. That was almost really bad. Danny Etling on the sideline, that's what we want to see. No disrespect to Danny, but we want to see Perkins in on the field. Dude, this is the one bad thing about these interviews. When you show the visiting side for teams that don't do visiting side people, it just looks so bad. Like, if you just at DC, it's fine, but here, no. Bryce Perkins is in the backfield with Nate McCreary to his right. Let's see if they do here. Just over 8 minutes left in the third quarter. Both teams still have a super challenge. Ball is snapped. Bryce Perkins fakes the handoff, rolls out to his right. He's going to throw it deep to the right. It is a bomb, and it is going to be tipped and almost intercepted. Needed a bit of a better pass there, a bit deeper. Sims could have done a bit more. Just almost a bad break again. 2nd and 10 for the Panthers now. If they do an expansion west, teams could they add? Do you think the Oakland is one? Oakland could. It's just California is one of those places that just costs a fortune to play in, and that's the big issue for them. So that's the one reason why you wouldn't put a team in California, is just how much it costs. It's the same thing with like the New York, New Jersey area. But yeah, I know Portland's one that a lot of people think could, but who knows. I think Denver would be a good one. Perkins is in shotgun again. Hands the ball off. McCreary makes a couple moves, but he gets tackled a couple yards back the line of scrimmage. Again, Memphis' defense, I predicted this defense was going to still play really solid, and so far they're looking pretty solid. Yeah, we did see a super challenge work. Again, it's great that we have the ability to get a second one if the first one is successful. We saw Curtis Johnson, of course, fail his super challenge, which was hilarious. But yeah, would have been a TD last year on the deep shot. Yeah, this Memphis defense is definitely playing a lot better than they did last year. I mean, like, this has been really solid for them. 3rd and 11 for Perkins and the Panthers. He is in the backfield by himself in shotgun. Ball is snapped. Perkins drops back to throw. Looks over to his right. Throws it. Is going to be caught at about the 45-yard line. He is still up, but he's going to be stopped. Wasn't moving. There is a flag. Going to be interesting to see what this flag is. Let's see what the flag is. Let's see. Face mask on the defense. Guaranteed first down for the Panthers. Not what you want to see. Again, Memphis has had a couple bad penalties so far. There was the bad hit on Danny Etling earlier. That almost could have given Michigan a field goal if it was made. And, of course, you have another one right here. Bad face mask. A couple of bad ones. Gilbert, another former Pittsburgh Mauler player. Not what you want to see there. 1st and 10 for Michigan again. Do you think the UFL marketing is better? Is it better than last year? Yes. Is it still good enough? Definitely not. That would be my way of saying it. Better than last year? Yes. Good? No. Perkins in shotgun. Fakes the handoff. Quick throw out to his right. It's going to be caught for about a 5.5-yard gain. Depends exactly where they put him out. Panthers are a QB away from being a juggernaut team. I'm not high on Perkins or Etling. Wow, that's... I know Perkins had that lesser throw, but I think Perkins still has the potential to be a really good quarterback. I would say the Battlehawks are more of that team. Again, Manny Wilkins looked really good against Houston, granted. But they were a team that was definitely a quarterback away on their roster. Same with San Antonio. And San Antonio, Kellen Mond didn't look all that great. The Panthers, I mean, even with Etling last year, they were still a really good team. They gave it a close run for the Stallions. People forget the reason they lost wasn't just the third quarter. It was the end of the half, the terrible play call to not go for it. Ball is snapped. They hand the ball off to Matt Colburn. Colburn just gets to the first down. They might call him a little bit short. But like last year in the playoff game, what hurt them is that at the end of the half, they decided to kick a field goal instead of going for it. Missed the field goal, and that's what really sparked the downfall for them. If it wasn't for that, there's a good chance the Panthers would have won that game. So I think the quarterback isn't the biggest issue. They're going to be 3rd and 1. They do go for it, and it is a first down. Oh, nope. They called the timeout right before the ball was snapped. So it's going to be 3rd and 1 again. Showboats using a timeout there. Again, they have an interim coach, one of the 2 teams that have an interim coach, as Ken Wisenhunt did leave the team roughly like 6.5, I think 6 days, maybe 7 days ago, for personal reasons. Still don't know exactly what the reasons are, but we'll see eventually, probably. Barcelona winning, we don't like to see that. We needed Barcelona to lose so Madrid could actually get up ahead of them on the standings. But is what it is. 5 minutes and 25 seconds left in the third quarter. Again, still is a very low-scoring game so far, which was predictable. Again, both these teams are defensively based. Yes, the Panthers have a lot of great offensive players, but they are better on the defense when you have multiple guys who are, of course, DPOY winners. And really, you could argue 3 of them when you consider Kai Nakua would have won it for sure, but yeah. Matt Conklin, definitely top kicker. Just saw somebody tweet about that. Yeah, Conklin is definitely, right now, considering the fact that we know who he is probably the overall best kicker in the league, just because of the fact we know how good he is. You know, it's not like is he going to be good? We know he's good, and he's always been. So, yeah. Let's see. Still in the commercial break. Gotta love it. PGA, pulling that up real quick. Minwoo Lee, -1 so far for the day. So is Scotty, but doesn't matter because Lee got 1. Not what you want to see. Granted, it's only been, 3 holes, so not like it's been a long time. Oh, I completely forgot. I apologize. I completely forgot to put out a poll before this game started on who was going to win between the Panthers and the Showboats. But it is what it is. I had to make sure the rest of it was better, of course, because now we got the play-by-play thing actually working. It's not as good as ESPN's play-by-play, but it's still better. And, of course, the mic is better instead of using the wrong one from yesterday. But, hey, next week, hopefully, everything goes well. How do you do the UFL draft? I kind of like how they do it right now, doing the college draft, where you just draft guys who don't play this year for sure. Some of them are just futures picks, like the Sam Hartman one. I do like how it is, and I think that's completely fine the way it is. When they do an expansion draft, though, whenever they add teams, that's going to be a bit different. Odds are it should be something about protecting guys, but we'll see. That's going to be the interesting one, how they do that one. But basic drafts, I think it's actually completely fine how they do it. God, dude. I don't know what it is, but Sprite is like the worst drink in the world for that. I really got to get paper towels for that. I don't want to, but I might have to. Yeah, I'll be right back. I got to get paper towels. I just opened my Sprite, and I literally grabbed it out of the fridge and put it down. And that's enough to make it, explode. I'll be right back. Got to get a couple paper towels. Alright, we're back. Came back just in time. We're about to have the 3rd and 1 play. Alright, there we go. Just cleaned it up. Big shame, big shame. Big L. Big L. Common Sprite L. That's why other sodas are better. 3rd and 1. They do a QB sneak. Ooh, it might be close. They're going to probably have to use the UFL technology to see exactly where that ball got. Either way, though, as you all know from me, if you're in 4th and inches, I don't care where you are on the field, you go for it 100% of the time. If you only need about half a yard, you can't get it, you don't deserve to win the game. So I would go for this even if this is short. That's how I view it. What USFL teams from the USFL should they add? They should do the Maulers and Breakers because of the team people liked. but they should do the Generals and Stars because they're the two teams that everybody knows. They're the two historical teams. So it's a bit of a weird one there, but that's kind of the best way to view it, honestly. It's going to be 4th down. Again, you have to go for it here. This is a very, very... I'll make sure I don't have anything on me. Very short 4th down, 4th and 1. Like, this is less than 4th and 1. Judge hit another home run. He's at 4 home runs already. Dude is just balling. Yeah, you got to go for it here. Because, I mean, yeah. I would be happy with the Breakers and Stars. Dude, I agree. Dr. Pepper is a W. That's the first drink I had, dude. Dr. Pepper, I've, like, never had an issue with it. Sprite, though, every time. Like, I was in my car the other day, and I opened a Sprite. Thing just exploded. Ball is snapped, and it doesn't look like he got... Oh, he got it. He reached for it. If they stopped him short, then he would. This is going to be one that where we might see a super challenge on. This is an interesting one. Depending on when he got down, this could be a first down. Let's see. Yeah, it depends when they called this dead and if he hit the ground. Because if it's based on the very ending, he got it. But he may have touched the ground early. This is going to be interesting to see. They're still looking at it. It seems like they're thinking he got it. They're using the official true line measurement, another thing the NFL doesn't have, and it looks like he definitely got it. First down. What should the UFL do next year? They should add 2 teams. Like, they just should. But, because we need to see at least a couple teams be added. But we also should see them try and, like, get rid of this whole issue with the offseason. Either do a CBA that's different, or just kind of something with the PA, you know what I mean? It's just, get rid of all the drama. The offseason drama was not good, but that's pretty much all I can say. Michigan 2-2 on 4th downs. Love to see that. Perkins is in the backfield. Ball is snapped. Hands off the ball to Matt Colburn, who breaks a tackle, keeps going, and he gets to about the 25-yard line, about a 5-yard gain on 1st and 10. Really solid play right there. 2nd and 5 now. That's definitely a first. Yeah, it was a first. Yeah, that was a really good play by Perkins. He ended up reaching for it when it mattered most. Got it. Good play. Definitely. Bro, too bad we don't get the note card, bro. Imagine we got the note card from, like, that one NFL time. That's hilarious. Ball is snapped. Perkins fakes the handoff, and he throws. It is a touchdown. Just broke his guy. That was a great play by the Panthers right there. Touchdown, Michigan. It is 16-6. The other Nakua on the team of Samson Nakua gets it. 16-6. Panthers lead. Really solid. Caught the ball. Only had one guy right next to him. Once he got past him, it was over. And player ownership stock. that would be something to see for sure. Panthers once again continue to do their 1-point conversion. Ortho sponsorship on the field. Gotta love that. Get the branding. Gotta get that money. Gotta get that bag. I will say I'm glad we're not having to deal with all the Army mid-game stuff. Bryce Perkins hands off the ball. It is going to be stopped. It looks like, no, he might have gotten it. Yep, once again, poor tackling from the Showboats. Not able to get him down. Though forward progress looks like they're going to call him down short. Yep, it is 16-6, a 2-score game. Wouldn't be shocked to see a review, but we'll see. Gotta love that. Just got past his one guy. That was just bad play by a Showboats defender. He went for the tackle instead of just holding back, and he missed, and it was just over from there. Good play by the Panthers right there. Bad play by the Showboats defense. That was the first really bad thing the defense has done, aside from aside from the 4th down rush that Perkins had earlier, obviously, but yeah. They're reviewing the 1 point right now. Yep, it is going to be overturned. It is good. 16-6, or it's going to be 17-6, it looks like. Yep, 17-6, 11-point game. Still a 2-score game, still a field goal touchdown game. Granted, they have to make 2-point conversion, but looking pretty good so far. Again, the Panthers just playing really well right now. Good play by Colburn. Again, really good running back from last year. Isn't the full starter right now, but doesn't need to be. Just a really good player. Gotta love it. I really don't like the single extra point not being kicked. Yeah, I agree, because I know, like, Wes Hills got hurt on an extra point attempt last year, and, like, I would have liked to see the 1 point be, like, a 40-yard field goal, essentially. Kick is up to the 25, to the 30 for Memphis. It's going to be down about the 32. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see it be a long extra point to where if you trust your kicker, you can do it, but it's not, like, a guaranteed one. Like, a 45-yard kick is nothing guaranteed, you know? Because it's also, like, when you're doing a 1 versus a 2, the 2 to the 5, I feel like you should just always go for 2. I don't think the 1 point is fully worth it from where it is compared to where the 2 is. But that's just my opinion. Troy Williams is back in at quarterback for the Memphis Showboats. Let's see if he can continue playing well like he's been doing minus that 1 drive. He has a running back to his left in the backfield. Let's see what they do here. Trying to get the Panthers to jump off sides. 11 seconds on the play clock left. 10 seconds. 8. Ball is snapped. Hands off the ball. Is going to be about a 2-yard gain on first down for the Showboats. Getting the betting analyst again. Talking about the over-under, bro. So much of this. They're now doing player bets. They stopped talking about it with the main 2 broadcasters, just added another person to do it. You gotta love it. ESPN forcing that betting stuff down our throats. T-Will, 12-yard TD passes, bold take. Try to fake a couple of handoffs, but they handed it off on the very first time. It is going to be it is a first down. That was an incredible rush right there by the Showboats. Panthers did not tackle perfectly well right there. Just did the celebration that I'm pretty sure is banned in the NFL. The CeeDee Lamb knows one, so gotta love that one. Is David Davis back? No, not yet. He is probably going to come back in a couple weeks. Of course, the injuries is the big thing. But they still have Jay Adams, who, of course, is a really good receiver. There is a flag. Let's see who this flag is. Oh, they are calling that. So it is a penalty in this league. That is wild. Soft penalty. Unsportsmanlike conduct on Memphis. That's wild. That taunting, bro. Taunting should be allowed. I've always stood by that. Like, if you do a big play over your opponent, like, the opponent should just stop it. You know what I mean? That shouldn't be a penalty. I agree. Celebrating is a good thing. It's stupid that they ban that kind of thing. T-Will rolls out to his left, throws the pass. It is going to be caught. Oh, he breaks the tackle, and he gets another 3 yards. He ends up getting about like a 6-yard gain right there. That was a really good play right there. Broke the tackle, saw a play. It's got to be one of the NFL refs. They said that. Yeah, because, I mean, Dean just said it was up to the discretion of the ref, so I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case, honestly. Jay Adams is the only Showboats receiver that, like, has over 10 yards. That's pretty wild. T-Will is in the backfield again with one man to his left. Drops back to throw. Looks over to his left. Throws a little check down screen. Going to be a first down up to the 40, up to the 35, and it's going to be tackled at about the 33-yard line. The nose wipe was banned in the NFL too. I'm not sure, but I thought some people said it was gang affiliated. All I know is all of these celebration stuff, like the gun celebration and all that, it's just super weak, all of them. Like, the props, I get it. Like, jumping in, the Salvation Army bucket is a classic, but I get it. But when you're just celebrating normally or taunting, it's like, when it's excessive, yes, but just doing something shouldn't be. I'm just not a fan of it being a penalty. T-Will hands the ball off in shotgun. It is going to be tackled. Gets maybe half a yard there. Like, these are grown men. You think they're going to get butthurt from some guy wiping his nose I mean, hey, it's like, the ultimate saying, like, if you don't want them to celebrate, don't let them do something. That's the whole point. You're the defense, they're the offense. Stop them from gaining yards, they're not going to celebrate. 2nd and 9. Under a minute left in the third quarter. T. Will is in shotgun. One man to his left in the backfield. Ball is snapped. Hands it off once again. Going to be tackled at about the 49-yard line. The no funneling making away. Yeah, sadly true. That's not what you want to see. Let's see. T. Will once again in shotgun, 3rd and 8 with 10 seconds left in the quarter. He drops back to throw, looks out to his left, throws it deep to the left. It is going to be an overthrown pass, incomplete. Just checking to see if the UFL happens to be trending on X. I doubt it with everything else going on. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Third quarter is over. Score is 17-6. Again, still a much closer game than the last two. Not too shocked about it. Still a low-scoring game. We have still less than 30 points scored in the game overall, which is crazy to think about compared to the last couple where you had one team score over 30 in both games. And Michigan still is looking like the better team. Again, their defense and offense both playing really good. As for Memphis, offense has been a bit questionable at times, depending on who's in at quarterback, even right then. Again, I still stand by that should not have been a penalty. That was a really whack penalty. So, yeah. Ballas getting the ball was fun. Yeah, this is definitely a much better game. I still don't think this is like an A-tier game, but this might be a B-tier game. I mean, it's so far been a solid game because it's a lot about these two teams trying to use different quarterbacks to make different things work. Of course, the first drive with T. Will was a really good drive. Since then, it's been a bit worse. E.J. Perry did have the one solid drive. Matt Coughlin's been playing really well. We're seeing special teams matter in this game, which we really didn't the last couple of games. That's always a good thing. If special teams doesn't affect the game, then it means the game isn't really great. I know it sounds weird to some people, but if the special teams isn't doing anything, that means either A, it is just a true shootout, which is, it's a fun game to watch, but it's not good football, if you know what I mean? Like, if it's a true shootout where both offenses just score drive after drive, you know what I mean? But if your special teams are just punting the whole time, then it's just a boring punt fest. But if you're having punts, you're having kicks, you're having kickoff returns matter, it's a close game and it matters. That's what we're seeing so far. This could end up being one of those games where because B.T. Potter missed that field goal at the end of the half, Panthers lose, makes it a better game. So far, though, it's been a solid one. Hasn't been an incredible game, but it's been the best of the weekend so far by far. I'm still going to be very interested to see what the official attendance number is for this one. I would imagine it's going to come out soon. We'll see. Yeah, I'm seeing Ducky tweeting about how that shouldn't have been a penalty. I agree fully. Let's see, the fourth quarter. Again, it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening in the fourth quarter. I wouldn't be shocked if we just see T. Will and Perkins play, but I think Memphis is probably going to put in E.J. Perry for at least a drive. Again, will they score a touchdown or will it just be the Matt Coughlin show? That's what's going to be very interesting to see. Man, this horsepower scrubber, dude, one of these kind of ads on ESPN Plus is wild. Don't forget, right after this game, DC versus Birmingham will be playing on ESPN and ESPN Plus as well. Since we're in the fourth quarter, I guess I'll put this one. Who wins the next game? Not exclamation point. DC. So who do you think wins the next game, DC or Birmingham? I would imagine most people are going to say Birmingham for obvious reasons, but we'll see. It's still close to the Showboats score in the fourth. They can go for 4th and 12. Yeah, they can do what they got beat last year when they got beat by the Brahmas because they did it. That'd be hilarious if the Showboats would do it. I'd hate it being a Panthers fan, but it'd be hilarious to see it. They are punting, of course. The Showboats do have 2 timeouts left. Michigan have all 3. Both teams have a super challenge. They haven't used even one, so if they succeed, they get a second one. Punt is up. Looks like it's going to be up to about the 10. Going to be fair caught at the 9-yard line. Michigan, if they play this right, could eat out a lot of clock. Eat about like 7 minutes, kick a field goal being their best case scenario. Want DC to win, but Stallions, I'd imagine it's a lot of DC for sure. 100% is wild. I mean, hey, this is like DC, them winning would be probably the biggest upset in spring football. Like, that would be insane. Perkins' stats are all really solid. 12 of 14 for 125, a TD, no interceptions, 1 rushing TD. Gotta love those stats. Okay, they finally gave Perkins his rushing touchdown on the site. That's good. At least there's that. Again, a little over 14 minutes, 50 seconds left. Perkins is in shotgun. Hands off the ball on first down. McCreary gets about a yard on the play. Going to be about 2nd and 9. Might call super long 2nd and 8, but we'll see. Michigan, Memphis, bro. Gotta love this. Again, so far, still the best game overall. Just looking something up over here on the side. Using it as a wristband. Love to hear that. Being like the Chiefs of the UFL, which is ironic because I dislike them, but I love the Chiefs, bro. Fake the handoff. Perkins rolling out to his right. He's going to throw it for a first down. It is going to be caught. Really nice pass right there. Threaded the needle between a few defenders. First down, COC Mariner. Again, COC Mariner was the #1 player of the last year PFF and wide receiver position. So, yeah. DC hate. I still don't see DC hate. I just see it as like the Stallions are the Stallions. They always win week 1. DC, it's just like, you know, like DC winning would be a massive upset, whereas Birmingham winning is like, I mean, it wouldn't even mean upset. An upset would just be DC keeping this game within 10. Anything like that would be impressive for DC and questionable for Birmingham. Sports betting analyst again. Yep, injury timeout right now. Showboats guy was a bit slow to get up. COC Mariner at 35 receiving yards, 3 receptions. Again, last year he didn't play the full season because he came into the team late, but when he played, he was incredible. Most famous moment was against the Roughnecks. Roughnecks had an interception. He ripped the ball out of their hands, then ended up getting it for a reception. Helped them that game-winning drive, and one of the best games in the league last year was that Roughnecks-Panthers game. So they do here. Perkins is in shotgun, one man to his right. Some motion up front. Low snap, but he gets it and is able to hand the ball off. A bunch of room open to the left, and McCreary gets the first down and gets about another 3 yards past the 40-yard line. Really solid run right there. Again, just had almost an entire side of the field open to him. Was able to get a decent chunk right there. That was good work by Bryce Perkins. That was a low snap to the bottom left of his body. He was able to catch it and then immediately hand off the ball. It was good quarterback play right there. That's one of those little things of a quarterback that makes a good quarterback to a great quarterback. Being able to fix an issue like that, like a really bad snap, being able to, 1, catch it, and 2, still get it up for the handoff, not have to improvise. Really solid right there by Perkins. Then, of course, Nate McCreary with the good run itself. 1st and 10 for Michigan. Of course, Michigan is going to try and eat this clock out as much as they can. They have no reason to try and play this slow or play this fast and speedy. They're up by 11. Get at least up to 14 would be nice. Let's see what they do here. Interviewing the Showboats interim coach right now, Jim Turner. Does anyone actually bet on these games? Might have to look into this, TBH. A lot safer to bet. Yeah, a lot of people do bet in this league for sure. I mean, this league's made it pretty apparent they want it to be about betting, so there's definitely a lot of people betting. Like, not the most insane, but you'll be surprised how many do. But some of them are definitely insane. Like, DC being like the 3rd highest team to win the championship was insane bet. Nate McCreary rolls out to his left, gets about 2 yards. Like the over-under futures wins total compared to what my season predictions was, like a couple of the teams are insane. Like I think Memphis is going to do a lot better than what they were projected to do. And a couple teams are going to do a lot worse like DC. It's just insane. And a couple of these over-unders were based on not knowing who the starters are, and now it's pretty obvious. And always under. I mean, hey, so far over-under picks, I've been right on both of them. Granted, I don't bet, and I tell people I don't bet, but my picks or my game picks coincided with the betting picks. So far, my over-under has been right twice. I did pick the over the Arlington game. Let's see if this one is right, though, because I did pick the under here. Perkins drops back. Quick pass over the middle. It is going to be caught at about the 50-yard line, almost exactly at the 50-yard line. Again, so far, this is what they want. Panthers need to just do a slow, methodical drive, eat up as much clock as they can, and good. Renegades was an easy pick, and yet the Brahmas were favored. Yeah, I mean, when I did my picks Arlington was +3. That was crazy. Handoff on third down. It is going to be a first down for the Michigan Panthers by Nate McCree once again. Oh, no, that was by Matt Colburn. My apologies. Again, the ability to have 2 running backs, again, like they did last season, is really good. The team worked really well when they had both Wes Hills before his injury, of course, and Matt Colburn. If they're able to keep doing that this time, it's going to be really solid. Keep your running backs both fully healthy, not having to deal with them both getting tired. Gotta love it. Bryce Perkins is once again in shotgun. He has a running back, Matt Colburn, to his right. Cam showcasing Boogie Roberts, of course, one of the biggest names on the Memphis Showboats team. Ball is snapped. Hands off to Matt Colburn, who gets 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards. Gets about 6 yards. Maybe they'll call it 7. Solid play for him right there. Good start for the Panthers. Again, they waited until the last 5 seconds of the play clock to snap that ball. Again, trying to eat up as much clock as they can. Ideally, they score with less than 8 minutes left on the clock. That's what you hope to see if you're the Panthers and a Panthers fan. Just eat up as much clock as physically possible. Don't let them have a good chance. Don't let the Showboats have a good chance to do it. Let's see. Second and 3 for the Michigan Panthers. Ball is snapped. Handoff. Colburn gets about 2.5 yards. Going to be about a long 3rd and 1, or it's going to be a 3rd and 2. Jim Turner got a sense of, got a 3rd and 2. They are going to call it 3rd and 2. This is a shorter 3rd and 2, but still obviously 3rd and 2. Let's see what they do here. Colburn is still in at the running back position. He is to the right of Perkins, who is in shotgun. He's got 3 receivers lined up right next to each other out to his left. Motions one of them to the right. Fakes the handoff. Quick throws to the guy that was in motion. Gets to the 30-yard line. First down. Really solid play design right there. Nakua with another good play. It's kind of nice how sportsbooks don't know these teams very well. That is 100% true. DC being the 3rd highest rated team to win the championship and Arlington being like the 3rd worst. Unbelievable. Some of these spreads have been like really easy to call. Like again, Arlington was a super easy pick. Like if I was going to bet money, I would have bet a ton of money in Arlington's spread. That was just such an obvious call to me. But yeah. One of the worst teams in the league last year. My brother, they were like the worst team in the league last year on defense. But yeah, definitely much better this season. Memphis' defense still playing really solid. Handoff to Colburn again. Gets about 1.5 yards. Again, this is one of those where the score doesn't really dictate how close this game is. This is like how the game was in the first quarter between Arlington and San Antonio. This is a pretty close game so far, all things considered. Memphis' defense is playing really well, especially considering how much they've had to be stuck on the field. Let me put it summary. As of now, they have time possession is relatively close, but Michigan still does have an advantage overall by a few minutes. So, is what it is. Greg Williams with a fresh cut. Oh my God. Oh no, that's just Greg Williams. Okay, I thought it was something else. Lol. Ball snapped by Perkins, hands it off, fakes it, throws it to his left. It's gonna be caught, breaks a tackle, but he is hit just enough to get tackled. Good enough hit by the Showboats to make it to where he couldn't keep going. It's gonna be 3rd down once again. Again, they're doing what they wanted to do. As long as they don't do something bad here, it's gonna guarantee that they're gonna end this drive with under 8 minutes left in the game. This is what you wanted to see if you're a Michigan Panthers fan. Let's see if they can keep this up right now. Great that Nakua got a touchdown today. Definitely great to see. You want to see some of your bigger name players or guys who are related to NFL guys get opportunities. Like Jake Bates last year when he made that 64-yarder, just went viral. So did the Alex Millette touchdown from Brad Wing. Haven't had a moment like that so far. We could with this game. We'll see. Ball snapped with 1 second left on the play clock. Perkins looks over to the middle. He throws it while getting hit. It is incomplete. Flag. It might be intentional grounding. Nope, it's a holding call. Okay. That was the NFL. That probably would have been more from the passer, by the way. Just saying. In the NFL, you can't even hit a quarterback, pretty much. Holding on the offense. Penalty is declined. Good call by Jim Turner. Force the field goal. Don't push him back. That's something that a lot of people I see in the NFL do. Well, they'll take a 3rd down penalty, and they end up getting the 3rd down for some reason. Like, you can force a field goal. Force a field goal. BT Potter up for his 3rd kick of the day. Of course, he made the first one of 32, missed the second one, which is a long 58-yarder. This is another one of those shorter kicks. Makes this a 20-6 game. Still a 14-point game, a 2-score game. Let's see, 43-yard. Let's see if it's good. eating up the clock a bit more. Ball snapped. Kick is up. It is almost in the middle. It is good. 20-6 with 7 minutes and 47 seconds left. Again, really solid for the Panthers right now, but it is a 2-score game, of course. 9 points is a 1-score game. Currently, Memphis just needs a 2-point conversion and 2 touchdowns, and it's a tie game. Panthers have a pretty lethal receiving room for sure. Mariner, Sims, Nakua, Hikatini is a really good one. They have Ross as well. Devin Ross is another solid player. They have a really good roster, all things considered, in the receiving room. For sure. So let's see what ends up happening here again. Memphis, they need to score at least something here. They pretty much need a touchdown, but a field goal then going for the 4th and 12 is still doable. It's not, ideal, but you could do it. We'll see if they do it. Who knows? Still have the poll up for who wins the next game. I'm going to close that in a couple minutes. DC versus Birmingham. At least when I last checked, it looked like pretty much everybody voted that Birmingham was going to win. Obvious reasons. But let's see. Someone going to be bold and take the other one. Yep, we got at least 2 people now who have voted on DC. Turn that off. There we go. Yeah, Memphis need a touchdown here. Yes, a field goal makes it 20-9. You get the 4th and 12. You succeed about that. You can kick another field goal, make it an 8-point game. But what you really need to do is score a touchdown, and you need to get your 2-point conversion. I would go for the 2-point conversion. I wouldn't go for the 1. Because if you get a 2-point conversion, then you don't have to worry about the next one, and the next one is good. But yeah. Battlehawks opener doesn't look so bad. Doesn't look as bad after yesterday's game, but still bad for the Roughnecks. I mean, you had 2 bad opening games. You had 2 opening games that are firmly going to be in my D tier when I post that video, which is probably going to be posted on Wednesday, might be Thursday. I don't know for sure which day I'm going to post it since we don't have Fox Super 6 anymore. But those 2 games are easy D tier games. Those are 2 of the worst opening games you ever had for sure. Panthers D is too much for Memphis. Yeah, the Panthers defense is just so good. This is one of those teams where Memphis didn't really want to play because of the fact they lost, of course, their head coach who was the offensive guy. You wanted them to play a team that had a weaker offense or offense with question marks, like a San Antonio offense, like a Houston offense. Hell, even Birmingham might have been a better offense for them to play because you're talking about a team in the Panthers that is bringing back essentially the same offense. There's a lot less continuity issues, but the defense has been pretty good. If you're a Memphis fan, you have to at least have hope because unlike the last 2 games where San Antonio's offense and defense looked bad and Houston's offense and defense looked bad, Memphis's defense has been solid. They've been having to carry most of the weight, and they're still doing a solid job overall. So you got to give them some credit there. Definitely good play by them. You know what I mean? Boats are sunk. It might be. Brahms receivers actually need to catch the dang ball, too. Dude, there's a lot, yeah. I wouldn't mind the Roughnecks being full and adding 2 former USFL teams. It's bull, but definitely a very questionable market, especially if their attendance can go up. They weren't bad games. You were a Battlehawks or a Renegades fan. True. Do you think Memphis will beat DC next week? I want to see how DC plays, but I wouldn't be shocked because Memphis' defense feels like a really bad matchup for DC's offense. But I got to see that one. Let's close the poll. The poll ended 84% for the Stallions versus 15% for the Defenders. Again, not super shocked. Birmingham is just that game being close would be a shock. But yeah. Kick is up for Michigan. Memphis is getting the ball at about the 2-yard line, get up to the 10, the 15, the 20, gets tackled just past the 25-yard line. They're going to come about the 26-yard line. The Showboats beat the Roughnecks week 1 last season. True. They barely beat them, but yeah, that was a bad game. I can't believe that wasn't a bad game, but you know what I mean. It was a rough watch, but it was a fun watch. Memphis winning despite trying their best to lose was hilarious. Let's see. Still no attendance yet. Again, we should be expecting that any second now, pretty much. And hopefully it's above 6,500. That'd be good. Bring back the Gamblers. It was such a bad decision to keep the Gamblers but rebrand them to the Roughnecks. They should have just kept one or the other. That was definitely the worst call the UFL's made. EJ Perry drops back to throw. Like I kind of expected, he's back. And he's running for it, and he gets a couple of yards on the play. That's a good run right there. Good play by EJ Perry. DC Stadium's perfect for the league. Yeah, it's just MLS stuff is the only thing that sucks because you have to deal with MLS teams. But MLS stadiums are really good sizes. They're all like around like just under 20K. So even if you only have 10K people there, it looks pretty full. Definitely a really good thing for sure. 2nd and 8 for the Showboats. EJ Perry is in the backfield, one man to his right. No receivers far out to his left, but a couple that are there moving. He's looking to his left, throws it. It's a bit high. Not a bit. That's a pretty high pass. Incomplete, 3rd and 8 now. This is really bad. The Showboats do not want to punt here. If you punt here, giving the Panthers the ball right back, and your defense only had a little bit of time to get rest. You need to get a 1st down here. Or at least get like 7 yards and do the risk it for the biscuit play of going for it in 4th down. Gotta do something here. And they're eating a decent amount of clock right now. They just ate about like 7 seconds on the clock because how long they took. Down to 14 seconds on the play clock. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Ball is snapped. EJ Perry looks over the middle, rolling out to his right. There's a little check down. It's going to be caught. Gets a few yards, but it's going to be way short. They're going to have to punt the ball. I like Liberty Stadium. It's got a nice look. The championship should be hosted in an MLS stadium. Will look great for TV as well. Basically, given your 6-7% capacity. Yes, the big shame that Audi Field is just going to be like too much things going on there because that would have been a great championship game. I do not know for sure Memphis has one. I wouldn't be shocked if they do, but I just don't know off the top of my head. Just need some seats filled, a little true, but hopefully DC should be pretty good, you know. Should be a solid one. 4th and 4, looks like they might be going for it here. Is a timeout for an injury, but it looks like they're going to go for it here. Jim Turner saying we're in trouble, dude. That's a W, coach. Just calling it like it is. We're in trouble. We got to go for it. Yeah, I agree. This is a good call to go for it. Like, you kind of have to. You punted. Your defense has been playing good, but you just were on the field for a long drive. If you have to go right back on the field, it's going to really suck. So, you know, punt this ball or, you know, go for it right here. If you get it, you keep going. If you don't get it and you stop Michigan, they kick a field goal 23-6. You know, it's still doable. It's just really difficult. But yeah. Ball snap. Perry looks to his left. Quick throws. He catches it, and it's a 1st down. And he gets about 4 more yards as well. About a 9-yard pass right there. Good one. I agree. I respect Turner for saying that. Definitely a really solid thing. Just calling it like it is, so they have to go for it, and they made it. So far, we haven't seen a missed 4th down today. That's definitely some good football right there. Good play right there by Memphis. Just a quick little pass out to the left. Was able to break through some of those zones that the Panthers had. There is a flag on the field, however. I don't know for sure about protective. I know the big issue is that it's in the summer, and so it's heat and potential thunderstorms, and that's the biggest issue. But if they could, protective would be a good place to host it for sure. Delay of game on the defense. 5-yard penalty, 1st down. We got 5 minutes and 44 seconds left. Again, Memphis is going to be able to do a 4th and 12 if they do score. So they don't have to go super fast, but they have to go fast enough to where they can obviously keep going. You only have 2 timeouts left. Having to use that one earlier does hurt now because if Michigan does get the ball back, you're only going to be able to stop the clock twice. But let's see what they do here. EJ Perry drops back to throw, looks over the middle, and he breaks the sack, and he's able to keep running, and he slips and falls down. That was almost an incredible play, but he ended up slipping. Not what you want to see right there. Oof. And that was insane. Was able to just break that, but then he just fell down. You hate seeing that. 2nd down is caught, gets a couple yards, breaks a couple tackles, ends up getting about 4.5 yards right there. It will make this a more manageable 3rd down. Again, you got to get this 4th down because they're probably going to have to go for it in 4th down again. They're probably going to do it closer, but there is a flag. Let's see what the flag is. Roughing the passer. Let's see. Is this roughing the passer? Let's actually check because sometimes this is not the case and it's going to be overturned. But let's see. Turf Monster got him. Yeah, true. Pass is thrown. I don't think so. I didn't fully see helmet to helmet. Yeah. They're checking it. Yep, they're overturning it. Sounds like they're going to overturn it. That's the correct call. That was not roughing the passer. Yep, 3rd and 7. This is why UFL officiating is better than the NFL. The NFL, they would have kept that as a roughing the passer. The UFL, they can see the replay, see it clearly wasn't helmet to helmet. Obviously wasn't roughing the passer. A good call. He was making the move before he threw the ball, so it was good. I agree. I agree with all three of you guys, Adam, Brandon, and Michael. Just clearly, this is what officiating should be. UFL officiating right there. Good play, right? Good call right there by the officiating. WD Melanito moment right there. Clearly wasn't a penalty. Drops back to throw. E.J. Perry looks over the middle. It is going to be caught. Another first down. Great throw by E.J. Perry. Great catch. Trying to get out of bounds, but he gets tackled at about the 36-ish yard line. Dean Melanito is talking about the penalty. E.J. Perry is in the backfield again. One man to his left. Drops back to throw. Looks over the middle. Looks to his left. He's going to run for it. He barely gets hit over the foot. He gets a couple of yards. Not a lot, but he gets maybe like 2 yards. 4 minutes and 28 seconds left. They need to keep going faster. Oh, nope, he didn't even gain anything because it was shotgun. 2nd and 11. This is not good for them. Got to get this play out quick. He once again in the backfield with one man to his right. 4 minutes and 14 seconds left. Ball is snapped at 4:10. Delayed handoff. Goes out to the left. Breaks a tackle or just dodges one. Keeps going. Gets tackled. But he gets past the 30-yard line. Doesn't get out of bounds, however. So the clock is going to keep moving. Wish he would have gotten out of bounds there, but still going. Under 4 minutes left. Again, the Showboats do have the ability to go for 4th and 12 if they do get this. This game is going by pretty quick as well. Remember, these games are supposed to be about 3 hours long exactly. It is entirely possible this game ends with about like 15 minutes before the next game starts. It's a very quick game. Again, Michigan's been a huge reason for that. E.J. Perry drops back to throw. Throws it out to his right. Is going to be caught. Is able to break the tackle. Gets a first down. Gets to the 15. Gets to the 10. Gets tackled out of bounds just short of the or just past the 5-yard line. Great play right now by the Showboats. They're doing what they need to do. E.J. Perry just hitting the check down and he gets out of bounds. This is what you want to see if you're a Showboats fan. The Showboats are doing some things right now. Big plays by them right now. Just incredible play. Good old 1st and goal now. 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. Exactly. If you're enjoying the stream, make sure to like the stream. Let's see here. 3 minutes and 5 seconds left. 3 minutes and 4 seconds. 2. Ball is snapped. Handoff quick. Makes a move over in the midfield. He gets about 1.5 yards, but he gets tackled. They're going to have to do this quick. Again, you have less than 3 minutes left. 2nd and goal. Frank Ginder with a tackle. Haven't said his name a lot today, which is pretty shocking. Again, former DPOY. Did get hurt last year in the midseason. Missed about half the year. They're going to give him about a little over half a yard. He's going to be essentially 2nd and 4, if 2nd and goal at the 4. Perry is once again in shotgun, one man to his left, drops back to throw, looks over to his right, throws a high ball to the right corner of the end zone. That was a good decision. That's one of those decisions where it's either your receiver gets it or nobody gets it. Incomplete pass, 3rd and goal for the Showboats. Remember, you have to get a touchdown here. If you don't get a touchdown here, it doesn't matter because you used too much time. So this is 4 down territory for sure. Got to get this play out before the 2-minute warning. E.J. Perry once again in shotgun. One man to his left. Drops back to throw. Looks over to his left. Throws it into the end zone. It is going to be incomplete, but it's going to be DPOY for sure right there. Or DPI. So they're going to get a first down. Going to get closer to the end zone. Need to score here before the 2-minute warning. Yep. Pass interference. Ball's at the 1-yard line. You got 4 seconds left before the 2-minute warning. You need to score a touchdown right here. If you're able to do this, you're going to be able to, granted, it's not like it's going to matter a ton because of where you are exactly, but overall, that's what you want to see here. Again, 20-6. So they can pull it off here. First and goal. Do a QB sneak. It is good. Memphis scores the touchdown, or it looks like. I think it's good, but they might not call it short. Yep, they're going to call it short right now. Going to burn the 2-minute warning for him. This is going crazy right now for sure. Still no word on the attendance, by the way. Again, we'll probably see that in a few minutes again, because, again, this game's going to go really fast. Normally, at this point, we've still got about, 7 minutes left in the game clock. But again, 2-minute warning right now. Memphis needs a touchdown here. Anything short of that is not good for them. This is going insane right now. Let's see. I'm going to go look at what my prediction... Memphis comeback, maybe? Hey, maybe. I mean, remember last year against the Brahmas in week 2, they famously got come back on. They got just absolutely torched by the Brahmas the last minute of the game. So they know how it feels. Let's see if they pull it off. Let's see, go back to Twitter. No new posts. Again, this is just going crazy right now for sure. The good old Ortho, bro. The UFL's partner. Gotta love it. Yeah, Memphis pulling off this upset would be very poetic. It would be, such a great, thing from last year to this year. Just going from, getting beat to this. It's just great. Yeah, close games is definitely what we want to see. I mean, I agree. I'm the same way. I want to see Michigan win, but it would be just very good to see it being a close game. What is this, bro? What is this trailer? Okay. Dude, I forgot we're in this time of the year where we just get some of the most random movies ever. At least this game is delivering in... Yeah, this might move up to, I still don't think it might be an A-tier game. If this ending gets better, I might move it up to A, but this is still probably a B-tier game for me. Might move up, though. Yes, I believe there still are. I think I still see the patches. They just don't do them, in the middle of the game where they do it, but yeah. Movie called Drop. Isn't that great? Just Drop. What a name. Ooh, that's bad. The official attendance just came out. The attendance for this game is worse than any game last season. The official attendance number is 4,300. That is bad. Worse than any game last year by a wide margin. Last year, their worst game was 5,600. This is by a wide margin. Not what you want to see. Yeah, it definitely looked bad. That's not what you want to see, but I'm not shocked at it either. Potential false start. Michigan got it. They got it. They went for the super challenge on a false start, and they got it. So before the 2-minute warning again, and Michigan gets to keep their super challenge because they got the first one right. Dude, Mike Nolan, that's what makes a great coach right there. Mike Nolan said, F it, we're going to go for the false start, and it worked. Huge break for them. They get to keep their super challenge to get a second one. EJ Perry throws it into the end zone. It is incomplete. Great breakup by the Panthers right there. Dude, great challenge by Mike Nolan. That's a good one because that makes it just that was great by Mike Nolan right there. Great super challenge for sure. 20-6, second and goal. Again, 2-minute warning just hit now. This looks more attendant than the Stallions game last year, bro. Yeah, I mean, Memphis is the one they did so much marketing for, and to see this is definitely not good. But, I mean, hopefully, again, because, yeah. Yeah, Michigan is definitely looking like a good start, and it looks like this is going to be a W for them. Again, it's going to be interesting to see, because Memphis, again, anything's possible. When you have a minute left, you can go down the field like that. Again, San Antonio did that to Memphis last season. They had less than a minute and drove down the field and scored a touchdown. Because when you succeed the 4th and 12, you're already in really good field position. So, see if they can pull it off here. Again, they need to score a touchdown here, though, and it's now 2nd and goal. Again, Michigan with a huge false start, doing the super challenge to move them back 5 yards. Great call by Mike Nolan. I agree. Tickets need to be cheaper here. Ball snap. Perry throws it to the right. Ooh, it's caught for a touchdown. Jay Adams, of course, the number one guy on the Showboats now. David Davis is, out being hurt. They need to go for 2 here. They need to go for 2. They score a 2-point conversion here. Doesn't matter if they fail the next extra point conversion. They have to do 2 here. I would rather go for 2 twice than being forced to make a 1 twice. Yep, they're going for 2. That's a smart coaching decision. That's a great coaching decision by Jim Turner. Let's see if they can pull this off. Again, if they make this, that makes it to where they only need a touchdown to tie. If they miss this, they got to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. And, of course, they're going to go for 4th and 12 after this. Motion in front. Ball is snapped. E.J. Perry looks to his right. He's rolling out to his right. He's going to throw into the end zone. It's going to be intercepted. Let's see. He was trying to return it to get those 2 points, but okay. Again, it's still a 1-score game. A touchdown and a 2-point conversion, and Memphis can, win this game or tie this game. So now it's going to be a 4th and 12 for Memphis. Let's see if Memphis can pull off the 4th and 12. It's going to be very interesting to see. Let's see, 6 new posts. Yeah, dude, everybody's talking about how bad that is for Memphis, dude. L Memphis. Good old Memphis, bro. Dude, everybody's just talking how bad this is. I mean, I agree. It's true. But it's just wild. Good old Memphis, bro. If you keep doing this, you ain't going to have a team, bro. Go over here. This game better than the last 2. Oh, for sure. It's easily the best game so far. DC should have a good crowd for sure. Yeah, going for 3 is still an option, but I would imagine that they're not going to do that. I would imagine they'd go for 2 probably, but who knows. Because maybe they're saying that Michigan is doing pretty well making these extra ones, but yeah. This is going to be an interesting one. Pretty Perry screen personal foul. This is going to be a good one. I mean, this game might move up to A tier. I got to look back at what my A tier games are. It might move up. Because I think the DC Dragons, I believe that was the Lemon game. And I remember that one, the game got really good at the end. And that's why I put it in A and not S. Because it was really good at the end. This might be an A tier game now. This is getting a lot closer, getting a lot better. It's definitely the best game of the weekend by a wide margin. Yeah, the challenge here would definitely be a bold. He have to know for sure it's going to work because of the fact that he's down to 2 timeouts already. If Turner knows it's going to work, he'll probably do it. But if he doesn't know it's going to work for sure, if he's about 60-40, he probably wouldn't, and I would agree with him. That's the big issue when you only are down to 2 timeouts in this scenario. Because you would like to imagine you have more timeouts, but at the moment you don't. You know what I mean? So it's going to be very interesting to see. But again, that was a good drive by E.J. Perry. Again, I expected E.J. Perry was going to come back. Was going to come back in. I just had that feeling, but he played really well right there. First touchdown of the season for the team. Jay Adams, love to see it. I hope we don't see the OT, the 2-point shootout. OT is my favorite. I think it's a nice way to do it instead of forcing, the drives. Because, the college one, I like it as well. But the same token, I think it's, I think they're all kind of gimmicky. The NFL ones is, I get it. I don't know. I think college OT is still the best overall. I like that, it's a 25 and then it goes closer and closer. But the NFL one, I do like it as well. It makes it a very quick OT. It's like penalty kicks in soccer. I know a lot of people dislike it. But, it's like a check kind of thing, right? If you make it, I should be able to make it, that kind of thing. So, yeah. 4th and 12 for the Memphis Showboats. Remember, there is no onside kicks. There is only the 4th and 12 at the 28-yard line. So if you make it, you get the ball at least the 40-yard line. But of course, you have to make it. Penalties do still give you an automatic first down. Memphis needs this. If they don't get it, the game is essentially over. With only having 2 timeouts, Michigan will be able to run out most of the clock. Yeah, not all of it, but they'll be able to get a lot of it. Let's see if the Memphis Showboats can do it. Ball at the 28-yard line. Let's see. E.J. Perry is still in at quarterback. He's got 1 man to his left. 2 of his receivers are lining out to his right. 2 of them to his left. Or 1 of them to his left. Ball is snapped. E.J. drops back to pass. He's looking over the middle, looking over to his right. He's going to throw it. It's going to be caught, but ooh, no, it's incomplete. Incomplete pass. No flag. Panthers are going to be able to run out a decent amount of the clock, but of course Memphis still can stop them. They do have 2 timeouts. Let's see if they can pull it off. That was a really good play by the Panthers right there. They're able to smack that ball right out of his hands. That was a good play right there. That was a good one right there. But again, the game is still not fully over. Again, Memphis has 2 timeouts. They'll be able to stop the clock a bit. What's going to happen? Michigan is going to run the ball. They got Danny Etling in the game. I'm going to honestly say I think they're going to do a read option play. Have Etling run it here. Do something a bit shocking. Ball is snapped. Fake the handoff. Or no, he does hand the ball off. It is going to be about a 2-yard gain for the Michigan Panthers. Not game over yet, but this is beyond improbable. Yeah. If Michigan just gets a field goal made, it is over. If Michigan makes a field goal, game's over. That's basically what is going to happen here. Memphis needs to stop them. These next 2 plays, force a Michigan field goal. If Michigan misses it, huge for the Showboats, but odds are he's going to make the kick, and then it's a 11-point game over. And 2nd and 9, they're going to call it 2nd and 9, though that's probably a bit of a shorter 2nd and 9. Yeah, remember, after this game, the Defenders will play the Stallions in D.C. in the game that a lot of people think Birmingham's just going to win easily, but who knows, D.C. could pull off the upset. This has been the best game of the weekend by far. Shame that it has the worst attendance we've seen in the modern spring football era, not counting the USFL itself. This is worse than any Vipers game. Bad. Etling's got 1 guy behind him in shotgun. Motion in front, left to right. Ball is snapped. Hands off the ball again on 2nd down. Tries to do a bit of motion. Ends up losing a couple of yards there. That's not what you want to see. You don't want to make your kick even harder. Memphis is going to be able to call timeout here. If I'm Michigan, I do not risk the pass. I would just take the run, eat up a lot of clock, cut that down to under a minute, then kick a field goal. You know, call a timeout with literally 1 second left in the play clock, then kick a field goal. Memphis is going to lose their franchise. I mean, hey, with that attendance, probably. Or a Ducky talking like a true Showboats fan, acting like the refs have been hurting them. Nah, gee, man. Hey, I will say this is not good. If your attendance is this bad with all the work they've tried to put in, because they didn't do a ton of work in the offseason, but they tried their best here. This game was really good. Facts. This was definitely the best game so far. Every rule has pretty much been used for sure. Ball is snapped. Hands the ball off again. I really would have liked to see... Again, they lose even more yardage. That's really bad if they lose even more. Again, that's what I mean. I would have liked to see them do a trick play where they give Etling the ball and have him run. That was very, very predictable play calling. Now they're going to have to kick either a really long field goal here. Bring the Bandits back or the Vipers. Yeah. They do have the win on their side. They should kick it here. You need to kick this here to just make this over. Going to call a timeout left with 1 second left in the play clock. Going to be less than a minute left. You're going to kick the field goal. You're going to have about 50 seconds left on the game clock once the kick is done. You make this field goal, the game's over. At that point, the Showboats would be better off just kneeling the ball, ending it, if the field goal is good. Now, if the field goal isn't good, that's bad. Maws aren't coming back, but here's the hope. I mean, hey, if the Showboats team is what it is right now, you could rebrand them. Yes, Jordan Ta'amu is the starting quarterback for the Defenders. A lot of Defenders fans like it. I think that it's a poor choice. I think they should have gone with Spencer Sanders as the legit starter or somebody else. But yes, he's still on the Defenders. 56 seconds left. Once the kick is over, it'll be roughly 51 seconds left. BT Potter is going to be kicking this. Again, they ended up losing 4 total yards on that drive. So hopefully this isn't a barely missing one. Okay, he's made 2 kicks so far out of the 3. Let's see if he makes this one. $50-yard field goal attempt. Let's see if it's good. Kick is up. It's going to the right. Looks like it's a miss. It's a no-good kick. BT Potter misses it, and I hate to say that I don't think it would have made it, but it being like 6 yards closer, there was a better chance it would have gone in. That's why sometimes you don't make bad play calls where you're running every play out of shotgun for no real reason. Let's see what they do here. Yeah, Memphis could do that. Again, 51 seconds left. Literally exactly what I thought it was going to be. Troy Williams is on the field. This is a bold decision. You're changing how it works. Again, you're going with another quarterback in. That wasn't the one that just got you the touchdown drive. Let's see if they can do this. He's in the backfield with one man to his right. Michigan is rushing 3. T-Will looks to his left. He's rolling up the middle. He's going to look to run for it. Pass is caught by Jay Adams, who gets tackled out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. Jay Adams, the best player currently on the Showboats, is just going here right now. Getting Battlehawks comeback vibe. This is insane right now. Yeah, this is probably an A-tier game right now. Easily the best game of the weekend, and this is getting insanely close. Shades of San Antonio. T-Will drops back to throw, looks to his right, looks to his middle, rolling out to his left. Breland Speaks is right on him. He gets tackled as he throws. It's intercepted! Game over! By Kai Nakua. Kai Nakua! He's going to the 20. The 15. He scores the touchdown. I don't know why he scored it. He should have just gone down, but he got the touchdown. Dude, I had the Panthers winning the game with exactly 20 points, dude. I would have been perfect if he had just not done that. Kai, how could you do me like that? Pick 6. That's game over. Kai Nakua pulling that off. Man. He did want to score. Both Nakua, that's a good point, Sharp. Both Nakuas scored today. I will say, dude, I was so looking for it. I would have been perfect score with the Panthers. That would have been so sick. Could send it over. Yeah, we're at the spread right now. The spread was 38. We're at the spread. Not the spread, the over-under. Let's see. Ball is snapped. Fakes the handoff. Looks to throw it. It is incomplete. So the over-under literally hits exactly. Dude, I talked about it in the last stream. Vegas knows something. The Battlehawks game was 0.5 away from hitting exactly where it was. This game is at the over-under, so I'm going to have to put another draw for that. It's wild. Almost a perfect game. Insane. They're showing the replay again. Troy Williams just throws the ball, which he really shouldn't have. Kind of cool, just jumped the route. That was a bad play by T-Will right there, for sure. Yeah, T-Will, that was bad. What a shame. I can't believe that. The Panthers winning like that is insane. I have Michigan minus 5.5, and under. Hey, yeah, the under, you got to push there, bro. It's insane. I can't believe that happened again, that it pushed at 38. I think I literally tied. I think I went 1-1-1 in this one because I think I had Memphis covering the spread. And the kickoff is mishandled, bro. It's wild. And he gets tackled at about the 29-yard line. Yeah, he should have thrown it out of bounds for sure. Oh, that's right. They changed it. Yeah, when I put my picks in, it was 38. But yeah. Insane. I don't think this is crazy. I thought this was the closest game on... Well, I thought this was the second closest... I thought Arlington, San Antonio was the closest, but I thought this was the second closest one. I just thought it was insane. E.J. Perry just hands the ball off. Goes down and game over. Michigan wins. Michigan gets the W. 26-12 is the final score. They get the W. Double Nakua score, baby. Gotta love seeing that. Both Nakua brothers score. The Panthers look good again. If you're a Showboats fan, this was a really good showing from your defense. The defense of Memphis played incredibly well today, despite the final scores. Again, they did their job. It's just a matter of the offense, which, like I said, was the thing that was genuinely a question. That was the issue, was, of course, the fact that you had the issue of Ken Wisenhunt, who was your offensive guy, leaving the team. But overall, not too shocking to see this is what it was. So, incredible play overall by the Showboats defense. Really good game. Michigan wins the game. Really solid one. Of course, DC versus Birmingham is coming up next. Again, if you enjoyed this stream, make sure to like it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Think about becoming a community member for 99 cents a month. You get team emojis. You get other benefits like exclusive video every month. Community heroes get to vote in the second game streamed every time. Again, we will be back next Friday for the second Friday Night Football game. Again, thank you all for joining here. This was a really fun one. Got to see the Panthers pull off the W in a really good game. The first actually good game of the season. Definitely an A-tier game. We saw